Chapter 3006. So that's how it is. Then in front of the third stone door, is there a corresponding test? Lin Yi quickly asked after listening. Of course. Jiao Yazi said, it should be similar to the last time. I understand. Lin Yi nodded. He was confident in his heart. He quickly walked into the second stone door, bypassed the high platform, and came to the front of the third stone door. He saw the words on the stone tablet next to the stone door. You can open the stone door after you have achieved the second level of the divine art. Now, Lin Yi had advanced to the second level of the art of dragon mastery. There should be no problem opening the stone door. Lin Yi placed his hand on the third stone door and activated the second level of the art of dragon mastery. Just like the last time, at this moment, all the qi in Lin Yi's body was mobilized, and his art of dragon mastery was automatically forced to the second level of the art of dragon mastery. At this time, there was no need for Lin Yi to activate the mental cultivation method. The mental cultivation method was running on its own, and the energy in Lin Yi's body was slowly injected into the stone door through his palm. However, with the experience of opening the second stone door, Lin Yi did not panic at all. Instead, he faced everything in front of him calmly. As time passed, the qi in Lin Yi's body became less and less, and finally, all of it entered the stone door. Then, the energy that entered the stone door flowed back into Lin Yi's body again. Unsurprisingly, the energy this time was purer than in Lin Yi's body. The stone door once again helped Lin Yi to complete the filtration, and then, the energy flowed back into the stone door, back and forth. Finally, the third stone door suddenly made a rumbling sound, and the energy flow between Lin Yi and the stone door stopped, and the stone door began to rise slowly. Phew. Lin Yi let out a long breath. It seemed that the third stone door was opened in the same way as the second stone door. Kid Lin, what are you waiting for? It's almost daybreak, why don't you go in and see what's inside? Elder Jiao's voice rang in Lin Yi's ear just as he was catching his breath. Lin Yi snapped out of his daze and turned around. He didn't know when, but the sky was already turning white. This time, it took longer than the last time because the second level of the art of dragon mastery had more energy than the first, so Lin Yi was pressed for time. It's already so tense this time. Won't it be daybreak next time? Lin Yi was startled and hurriedly asked, if there is a stone door at the peak of the third layer, will I be trapped for 5 years? 5 years? There's no need for that. The 5-year promise is long gone. You just need to wait for a day. At night, you can use the same method to open the door. Jiao Yazi said. That's good. Lin Yi let out a sigh of relief. If he had to wait for 5 years, wouldn't he be waiting for death? Who knew what would happen at home? Behind the third stone door, there was still no grand hall like the first stone door. Similar to the second stone door, it was a very simple room. There was still no light source in the room, but it was still as bright as day. However, Lin Yi was already used to it. In front of the stone room, there was still a small platform. On top of the platform, there was still a small antique box. Other than that, there was nothing in the third stone door. This made Lin Yi extremely disappointed. Lin Yi was already a heaven rank expert. He used to dream of obtaining a powerful heaven rank divine weapon behind the third stone door. But now, other than a box, there was nothing else. How could a divine weapon be stored in such a small box? Thinking about it, it wouldn't be able to fit it in. Lin Yi walked towards the platform with flagging interest and took down the antique box. The small box was light as a feather, similar to the previous one. This made Lin Yi even more disappointed. It seemed that other than the mantra, there wouldn't be anything else inside. There's no divine weapon here? Lin Yi asked Jiao Yazi in disappointment. If there is, then there is. If there isn't, then there isn't. What you see is what you get. Jiao Yazi seemed like he didn't know what was behind the stone door, so he said something ambiguous. Lin Yi was speechless. But since he was here, it was always good to have something. Lin Yi could only place his hopes on the fourth stone door. Because in the third stone room, Lin Yi saw the fourth stone door. Perhaps this stone room was set up according to the sky, earth, black, and yellow? It was just that he came in 5 years late, so his strength and mantra weren't in sync. Or could it be that in theory, the third stage of the art of dragon mastery was the real mantra that complemented the earth class mantra? Lin Yi couldn't figure it out. Because every mantra and mantra was linked to different levels of strength, there was no reference. Lin Yi didn't know if his guess was correct. When he came to the front of the fourth stone door, there was another stone tablet. As Lin Yi expected, there was a sentence carved in seal script on it. Third stage perfection, weapon in hand, use the weapon to hit the door to enter. What? Weapon in hand? Lin Yi was stunned. Wasn't this a trap? Where did the weapon come from? There was only a small box behind the third stone door. It probably contained the mantra. Where could he get a divine weapon? Could it be that the fourth stone door could be opened by simply hitting the door with a heaven-class weapon? It wasn't a very reliable guess, but no matter how he thought about it, he really didn't know where he could get his hands on a divine weapon. Seeing that the sky was about to brighten, Lin Yi didn't stay any longer. He went straight out of the stone door and came to the entrance of the cave. At this moment, the sky had just brightened. Lin Yi waited until the stone door was completely closed before he left and walked towards the village. This time, Lin Yi came back in a low-key manner. The people in the village didn't know. It was already dawn now. If Lin Yi directly went down the mountain with a small box empty-handed, it would inevitably arouse suspicion. Although the Xinyuan Cave Mansion was at the foot of the other side of the West Star Mountain and the possibility of being discovered was not high, Lin Yi still decided to hunt a beast on the mountain for caution. Otherwise, Lin Yi's inexplicable return to the West Star Mountain village, and the first thing he did was to go up the mountain instead of going home. Chapter 3007. However, when Lin Yi just entered the mountain range, his face changed slightly and became incomparably dignified. Because Lin Yi felt the aura of a cultivator in the mountain range. It was the fluctuation of true energy. The perception of Heaven's stage was really extraordinary. If it was the previous Lin Yi, he definitely wouldn't have such a great ability. But since he set foot in Heaven's stage, even if he was just an expert in the early stage of Heaven's stage, Lin Yi's perception of the outside world was extremely strong. Moreover, according to Lin Yi's perception, this true energy fluctuation wasn't just from one person. It should be from 2 to 3 people. Lin Yi subconsciously converged his own aura so that he didn't even have the aura of an ordinary person. He hesitated slightly in his heart. Should he go and see what was going on? After all, the appearance of cultivators here didn't seem to have much to do with Lin Yi at first glance. But on second thought, this was West Star Mountain Village. How could there be cultivators in West Star Mountain Village? This place was remote. There weren't even tourists here. Where did the cultivators come from? Why did this cultivator come? What was he doing here? Lin Yi couldn't figure it out at all. But since he couldn't figure it out, it was even more suspicious. So, after hesitating for a moment, Lin Yi still walked forward. The cultivators here were probably coming for him. Otherwise, Lin Yi really couldn't find any other reason. The aura of the cultivators was getting closer and closer. Lin Yi could be sure that there were a total of 3 cultivators in front of him. Moreover, their strength levels weren't low. One of them was an expert at the peak of the early stage of Heaven's stage, and the other 2 were actually experts at the peak of the late stage of Heaven's stage. At this distance, Lin Yi could already sense their strength, because all of them were unleashing their full power without holding anything back. What surprised Lin Yi was that these 3 people didn't seem to be a group because they were fighting. What was going on? Lin Yi felt even more strange. It seemed that these 3 cultivators didn't come to find him, but why did they come here to fight? Should I go or not? What made Lin Yi hesitate was that the other side had 2 peak late-stage heaven-ranked powerhouses. It wasn't easy to meddle in the affairs of heaven-rank powerhouses. Lin Yi didn't want to get involved in other people's business. However, if he didn't know the background of these three people, Lin Yi wouldn't be at ease. These three people suddenly came to the West Star Mountain village. Even if they didn't come for Lin Yi would at least have to be on guard, right? Just as he was hesitating, he suddenly heard one of them shout, "Sixth brother, I can't hold on any longer." This old madman suddenly stopped being crazy. How did he become so powerful? The person who was called Sixth brother was also secretly complaining. This old madman suddenly stopped being crazy. Even he couldn't hold on any longer. He didn't know where this old thing got two incomparably overbearing heaven-rank weapons. Even an expert of the same level like him couldn't withstand it. Let's hold on for a while. This old thing is intermittent. I don't believe that he isn't crazy. The person called Sixth brother said while gritting his teeth. Okay. After the previous person heard it, he also gritted his teeth and said, I don't know if old Seven has recovered. He fell behind after being smashed by this old thing's axe. Old Seven has the great recover pill in hand. There shouldn't be a problem. Sixth brother said. Why were these two voices so familiar? Lin Yi frowned slightly. He seemed to have heard it somewhere. It seemed that they should be his acquaintances. But among his acquaintances, where was there an expert with the strength of peak late-stage heaven rank? Except for the heaven rank strange man. Yes. Could the old madman they were talking about be the heaven rank strange man? And when Lin Yi thought of the heaven rank strange man, he suddenly thought of the two people related to him, Old 6 and Old 12. Now it seemed that these two people should be from the Five Elements sect. They were the subordinates of ancestor Xianchen. They were brothers with Little 1 and Little 11. Could it be that they found the heaven-rank strange man and were besieging him? Last time, Lin Yi was in the Wulonghout mountain range. He used an inescapable net to luckily escape from Old 12's pursuit. At that time, Old 12 was an expert with the strength of peak early-stage heaven rank. How high was he to Lin Yi? However, now that Lin Yi was an expert at the heaven rank early stage, he wouldn't be in such a sorry state when facing Old 12 again. Thinking that the person they were besieging might be the heaven rank strange man, Lin Yi no longer hesitated and ran over in a few steps. When Lin Yi got closer to take a look, his guess was right. The three people on the other side were the heaven rank strange man, Old 6, and Old 12. He saw that the divine weapon in the hands of the strange man had changed from the black iron rod last time to two huge battle axes. What surprised Lin Yi was that this time, the strange man didn't seem to be crazy. Because when he used the battle axes, he was quite methodical and could bring out the greatest power of the battle axes. On the other side, Old 6 and Old 12 were 2 against 1. Under the attack of the battle axes, they didn't have any advantage and were at a disadvantage. However, Lin Yi could also see that although they were at a disadvantage, it was impossible for the strange man to kill Old 6 and Old 12. The two of them were only slightly inferior. Moreover, the two of them had a tacit understanding. When one of them was in danger, the other could quickly protect him. This made the strange man's attacks fail again and again. At the very least, it shouldn't be a problem for Old 6 and Old 12 to hold on for 3 to 5 days. In the end, everyone would probably run out of true qi and scatter. Lin Yi was full of hatred for the people of the Five Elements sect. Old 6 and Old 12 were also his enemies. Although his hatred wasn't as big as Little 1 and Little 11, Lin Yi still had to take revenge for being chased by Old 12 like a dead dog. Thinking of this, Lin Yi directly shouted, "Master, I'm here to help you." Then he rushed over. Lin Yi was now an expert in the early stage of heaven rank. When he came nearby, he hid his strength. The strange man, Old 6, and Old 12 did not notice Lin Yi's arrival. But when Lin Yi shouted, it shocked them. Lin Yi? Old 6 and Old 12 were shocked. They quickly raised their heads to look at Lin Yi and immediately recognized him. As for Old 6 and Old 12, they had the same thought at the same time, and that was that today's situation was hopeless. The two of them were already having trouble dealing with the heaven-class monster, and if Lin Yi was added to the mix, then they would probably fall into the monster's trap. Chapter 3008. However, they were afraid that while dealing with the strange man, Lin Yi would make a sneak attack from the side. With such a distraction, the strange man would have a chance to take advantage of them. Thus, the two of them decided to retreat and planned to take advantage of the heaven-rank eccentric's distraction to run away. The strange man turned around and looked at Lin Yi. His eyes flashed with a trace of confusion. Then, his whole body became a little sluggish, and his eyes no longer had the shrewdness from before. He suddenly shouted, "Good, you're here. The two of us, master and disciple, will get rid of these two bastards together." Seeing the strange man's expression and reaction, Lin Yi secretly cursed in his heart. How could he have thought that he just called him master, and the strange man became stupid again, without the shrewdness from before? If the strange man was as powerful as before, Lin Yi and him should have no problem killing Old 6 and Old 12, but now, Old 6 and Old 12 were about to escape, but suddenly heard the strange man's words. They were stunned, but when they saw the strange man's appearance, they immediately became happy. Crazy. Crazy again. Wahahaha. 12th started laughing all of a sudden. 6th bro, this old thing's crazy. That kid Lin Yi called him master and he turned into an idiot. Yes, Lin Yi, thank you very much. It was quite difficult for us to deal with this old thing, but I didn't expect you to come and help us a lot. Old 6 also said happily, don't worry, I will thank you properly. After I take care of this crazy old man, I will send you to accompany him. Master. How are you? Lin Yi ran to the crazy old man with great concern, but Old 6 and Old 12 did not stop him. In their opinion, Lin Yi did not escape, but ran to see the crazy old man's situation. It was undoubtedly an act of courting death. If Lin Yi ran now, it might take them some time to kill the crazy old man, and they would not be able to find Lin Yi at that time. But Lin Yi actually took the initiative to die. 6th brother, it looks like this kid wants to die with us. Then we won't hold back. 12th's words stopped abruptly at this point because he noticed to his surprise that a palm had suddenly pressed against his chest. Wildfire 8 trigram palm, 8th form. Lin Yi's body that was originally running to the strange man made an incredible turn. Old 6 and Old 12 did not even see how Lin Yi turned around and walked over, and his palm had already pressed on Old 12's chest. Boom, followed by a loud bang, Old 12's whole body flew out. At the same time, blood spurted out of his mouth, and a huge dent could be seen on his chest. His whole body directly fell on a tree trunk not far away, and then lay straight on the ground, lifeless. Lin Yi did not urge the 9th form, because once the 9th form was activated, it would consume all of Lin Yi's physical strength and chi, and Old 12 was just an early-stage heaven rank master. Although Old 12 came from the 5 Elements sect, and was stronger than ordinary early-stage heaven rank masters, but Lin Yi's 8th form could even kill a middle-stage heaven rank master from the everyday and everyday sect. Killing Old 12 should not be a problem. Now it seemed that Lin Yi's judgment was indeed correct. Old 12 undoubtedly died, and Lin Yi still retained at least half of his physical strength and chi. The reason why he chose Old 12 was also because Old 6 was too strong. With the strength of the peak late-stage heaven rank, Lin Yi did not even try to know that it was impossible to kill him, so it was better to pick a soft persimmon and find someone who could be killed in one go. When Old 12 died, only Old 6 was left. With the strange man in heaven rank, and Lin Yi's help, he should be able to deal with it. Impossible. How is it possible? You are an early-stage heaven rank master? Old 6 looked at Lin Yi, shocked and angry. Lin Yi was actually an early-stage heaven rank master? How could he not know? But it was no wonder, the news of Lin Yi's breakthrough had just spread out, and he and Old 12 had been chasing the strange man in heaven rank for almost half a month, from the territory of the 5 Elements sect to the West Star Mountain. During this period, the strange man in heaven rank was sometimes good and sometimes bad, sometimes crazy and sometimes sober, so it dragged on, no one could defeat the other. They chased for a while and fought for a while, but fortunately, when they chased here, they had already figured out the strange man's fighting style. Waiting for him to go crazy, they could take him down in one fell swoop. But who would have thought that Lin Yi would appear out of nowhere? And Lin Yi was actually an early-stage heaven rank master. Of course, what puzzled Old 6 the most was that even if Lin Yi was in the early-stage heaven rank, Old 12 was at the peak of the early-stage heaven rank, and the disciples of the Five Elements sect were often stronger than other cultivators of the same level. But it seemed that this was not the case. Lin Yi was actually stronger than Old 12. Moreover, what was most inconceivable was Lin Yi's Qinggong just now. Even the speed of a heaven rank master couldn't be that fast, right? A moment ago, he was still standing in front of the strange man, and the next moment, he directly teleported in front of Old 12 and sent him flying with a palm? Was this footwork a new type of martial art specially used for sneak attacks? However, the strange man didn't give Old 6 the time to ask. Although he was crazy, the two axes in his hands didn't stop. They swung in the air like a tiger and smashed towards Old 6's face. Old thing, you're courting death. Old 6 didn't get to ask why, but instead suffered a fierce attack from the strange man. He was so angry that he raised the ruler in his hand and smashed it towards the strange man's head. This was his heaven rank weapon, and Old 12's heaven rank weapon was a black token. Although Lin Yi didn't know what it was, he had already coveted it and was ready to secretly pick it up later. The heaven rank eccentric didn't dodge and directly swung his two axes at Old 6. These two axes were much longer than the ruler, so Old 6 was startled and quickly dodged. The ruler was also taken back by him. He had no choice but to dodge. If he didn't dodge, the strange man's axe would smash towards him. Wouldn't his head be directly split open? It must be known that although the strange man was now in a crazy state, his strength hadn't decreased. He just didn't have any method to fight the enemy, so he fought randomly. Chapter 3009. Originally, it should have been easy to deal with the crazy heaven ranker, but now it had become extremely difficult. Otherwise, he and 12th brother would have killed the heaven ranker long ago. Why would they wait until now? And they had finally found a flaw in the heaven ranker. When he was awake, there was a blind spot that he couldn't take care of. This was also the reason why when one person was in danger, the other person could help him escape. Because once the other person attacked from the position of the flaw, the heaven ranker had to protect himself. Thus, when the heaven rank eccentric went berserk, one person attacked from the front while the other attacked from an opening. The heaven rank eccentric wasn't clear-headed and simply didn't have time to think about it, so it was very likely that he would be killed. But now that there was one less person, it was difficult to implement this plan. 6th brother could only brace himself and fight against the heaven ranker. Fortunately, this person was relatively stupid now, so 6th brother could barely gain the upper hand, but it was impossible to eliminate him. Lin Yi watched the battle between 6th brother and the heaven ranker. From the current situation, the heaven ranker couldn't do anything to 6th brother because 6th brother was not stupid and dodged very quickly. Moreover, the heaven ranker was attacking randomly, so he couldn't hit 6th brother at all. Several times, the heaven ranker's battle axe was easily dodged by 6th brother, which made Lin Yi secretly feel pity. At the same time, Lin Yi was also thinking about how to help the heaven ranker kill 6th brother. If 6th brother escaped today, then Lin Yi was afraid that there would be endless troubles in the future. Although Boss Bai and Ancestor Xianxin had an agreement, that was also under the premise of mutual non-aggression. Now that Lin Yi had killed 12th brother, 6th brother could go back and tell Ancestor Xianxin. Ancestor Xianxin would have enough reason to send people to kill him. Who asked him to kill someone else first? If Old 6 and Old 12 came to find trouble with Lin Yi first and were killed by Lin Yi, Patriarch Xianxin could only swallow his broken teeth. If he wanted to find Lin Yi for revenge, Boss Bai would definitely not agree, because he was in the wrong. But now, Old 12 was dead. Although Lin Yi was helping the heaven-ranked weirdo, essentially, Lin Yi had nothing to do with the heaven-ranked weirdo. As long as Patriarch Xianxian insisted on this, he would attack Lin Yi, and Boss Bai would be helpless. To put it bluntly, many things in the ancient times needed a reason that everyone could live with. With a reason, there was nothing to worry about. However, no matter how Lin Yi thought about it, he couldn't think of a way to deal with Old 6. The true Qi bomb had been compressed for too long, and Lin Yi couldn't guarantee that the true Qi bomb would have an effect on Old 6. After all, Old 6 was a peak late-stage heaven stage master. It was hard to say if Lin Yi's true Qi bomb could cause any harm to him. As for the Frenzy 8 trigram fire palm, even if Lin Yi used the 9th form, it shouldn't have any effect on Old 6. After all, the 9th form could kill a peak mid-stage heaven stage master in an instant. It was unknown whether it could seriously injure a peak late-stage heaven stage master, let alone a peak late-stage heaven stage master. After thinking about it, Lin Yi's brain was working at full speed, constantly recalling the experiences he had when he fought enemies above his level. However, it didn't seem to be applicable, because the highest level masters Lin Yi fought against were Zhang Naipeo's two subordinates, Mo Ba and Mo Jiu, mid-stage heaven stage masters. Suddenly, Lin Yi had a flash of inspiration, thinking of Zhang Naipeo. Lin Yi suddenly thought of Zhang Naipeo's heaven-defying skill, Dark Demon of Hell Fist, and after Lin Yi's modification, the Dark Demon of Hell Fist became the Raging Inferno Fist. Although the power of the Raging Inferno Fist was not as strong as the Dark Demon of Hell Fist, it could also make people fall into an illusion. Zhang Naipeo was like this back then, unable to extricate himself from the illusion. However, this Dark Demon of Hell Fist also had a shortcoming, and that was, the effect was not very obvious for high-level practitioners. Some strong-willed people could quickly recover from the illusion, but it was also possible that there was no effect at all. But no matter what, since Lin Yi thought of this move, he could only give it a try. If this move didn't work, Lin Yi could only waste his last inescapable net to trap Old 6, and then let the Heaven Stage monster directly smash Old 6 to death with his axe. Thinking of this, Lin Yi activated the mantra of the Raging Inferno Fist, and then according to the method of the Dark Demon of Hell Fist, suddenly made a move, punching towards Old 6's head, and shouted, "Raging Inferno Fist." Old 6 was nervously dealing with the Heaven Stage monster, and when Lin Yi made his move, he also chose the right time, just as the Heaven Stage monster swung his axe, and the moment Old 6 hurriedly used the ruler to block, Lin Yi's Raging Inferno Fist was also activated. A stream of vital energy shot into Old 6's head, and then Old 6 roared fiercely, his eyes showing a look of incomparable horror. He suddenly felt that he was in a sea of fire, and the sea of fire was chasing after him, and was about to burn him. Old 6 was shocked, and subconsciously turned around to run away. However, after all, he was an expert at the peak of the late stage of Heaven Stage, and also a disciple of the Five Elements sect, so his willpower was not ordinary. If it wasn't because he was dealing with the Heaven Stage monster's attack and didn't pay attention to Lin Yi's martial arts, he wouldn't have let Lin Yi so easily. Therefore, after just a moment of illusion, Old 6 roared again, broke through the illusion, and successfully escaped from the sea of fire. However, he was very shocked in his heart. Lin Yi actually had the ability to create illusions for others? What kind of martial arts was this? However, after Old 6 opened his eyes, he saw two battle axes falling from the sky, smashing towards his head. This was the last scene he saw after he woke up. Then, Old 6's head directly burst open, and he collapsed on the ground, turning into a bloody gourd. Although it was only a moment of confusion, it was only a few seconds from when Old 6 was hit by the Raging Inferno Fist to when he woke up, but these few seconds were enough for the Heaven Stage monster's battle axe to smash Old 6's head. Although the Heaven Stage monster was smashing randomly, his strength was still there, and Old 6 had just woken up, so he didn't have time to defend or dodge, and his head was smashed open like a watermelon. Old 6's death could be said to be very unjust. If the Heaven Stage monster was in a sober state, he would have accepted it, but he was in a crazy state, and could still be beaten to death. He died with his eyes open, however, his eyes were already gone, they were smashed into pieces. Chapter 30:10. After Lin Yi used the raging hellfire fist, his physical strength and true qi were instantly drained, and he slumped to the ground. On the other hand, the strange man was full of energy at the moment. After killing Old Six, he didn't feel tired at all. The enemy was killed by us, master and disciple. I'll leave this thing with you first. I helped you steal it from the enemy's base camp. Take a look at it first. I'm hungry, I'll go find something to eat. After saying that, the strange man took out a bamboo scroll from his bosom and threw it in front of Lin Yi. Then, without waiting for Lin Yi to speak, he turned around and ran into the depths of the mountains. Master. Lin Yi quickly called out, but the man didn't pay attention to him as he walked away until he was out of sight. Lin Yi didn't even have the strength to stand up and chase after him. He could only helplessly watch the strange man leave. With Lin Yi's past experience, the strange man had left. He probably wouldn't be able to come back. The next time they met would be uncertain. Lin Yi wanted to wait for the heaven-class monster to wake up and ask him how he pissed off Old Six and Old 12, how they chased him all the way here, and what was this bamboo scroll he gave him. But all these questions, Lin Yi could only put them in his heart. He could only wait for the next time they met to ask. After putting the bamboo scroll away, Lin Yi didn't look at it directly. Instead, he quickly entered the space of the jade pendant and ran the second level of the art of dragon mastery to restore his lost physical strength and true qi. Although the enemy had been dealt with, Lin Yi was afraid of any unforeseen events, so restoring his strength was the first priority. And this bamboo scroll could be looked at any time. There was no hurry. It wouldn't be too late to look at it when his strength was restored. However, just as Lin Yi was sitting cross-legged on the ground and running the art of dragon mastery to restore his physical strength and true qi, footsteps came from not far away. This made Lin Yi a little surprised. Could it be that the strange man really came back? Of course, it didn't matter if it was the strange man, but Lin Yi was afraid that other people would pass by, such as the villagers of West Star Village. Would they be scared when they saw the two corpses on the ground? However, Lin Yi really didn't have the strength to deal with the two corpses now. He could only brace himself and continue to restore his physical strength and true qi. If there were really villagers passing by, Lin Yi could only make up a random reason. The footsteps came from afar, but after Lin Yi heard it clearly, his face showed a relaxed expression. Because the footsteps were very familiar to Lin Yi. It was Gooden. And Lin Yi relaxed and let the footsteps come closer. Gooden came to West Star Village to hunt this morning. After having a family, Gooden had to work harder to earn money to support his family. So, coming to West Star Village to hunt every morning had become his job. But today, Gooden sensed an unusual scent in this mountain range. It was the smell of blood. Could it be that there were beasts fighting here? Gooden wasn't afraid. He ran over with the mentality of watching a show. But when he saw the scene in front of him, he froze. Boss? Why are you here? Gooden really didn't think that he would meet Lin Yi in Donghai City while hunting. When he saw the two corpses not far away, he was even more surprised. Who are these two corpses? Gooden, you came at the right time. I'm restoring my physical strength and pure qi. Help me patrol the area. Other than a crazy man with messy hair and two battle axes, don't let anyone near here. Lin Yi didn't have time to explain things to Gooden. Okay. Gooden didn't even think about it, nodding and disappearing into the nearby forest, patrolling back and forth. Lin Yi, on the other hand, continued to use the second stage of the art of dragon mastery to quickly recover his physical strength. Old 7, who was also the person that Old 6 was talking about, had been hit by the heaven-ranked monster's battle axe when he was still conscious and was seriously injured. He had no choice but to sit on the ground to heal while Old 6 and Old 12 chased after the heaven-ranked monster. But as old 6 and old 12 chased after him, they left some special marks of the 5 elements sect on the ground, and so old 7 chased after them. Gooden patrolled and hunted at the same time, and in the blink of an eye, he had a wild boar on his back. There were a lot of wild boars here, and he could kill one easily. Of course, this was in the mountains, and not many people dared to go into the mountains alone. There were a lot of wild animals in the mountains, but there were also a lot of dangers. Leopards, wolves, and other things often appeared. In the distance, there were footsteps, and Gooden became alert. He hunted every day, and he could even recognize the footsteps of all kinds of beasts. The footsteps today definitely didn't belong to a beast, but a person. Although Gooden was alert, he didn't show it on the surface. He looked like a harmless village boy. Soon, the footsteps got nearer, and a man wearing a black bagua robe that looked like an old man, but he looked like he was only in his 30s. Gooden looked at him. He didn't have an axe in his hand, and only had a sword by his waist. Evidently, he wasn't the crazy man with the axe that Lin Yi said. And so, Gooden's face showed a surprised expression. This person was naturally old 7. He chased all the way to Star West Mountain, and he didn't see old 6, old 12, or the heaven-class weirdo. Instead, he saw a village boy. Old 7 looked at Gooden attentively. He was wearing rough clothes, and he had a wild boar on his back. This was definitely a hunter nearby, and so he didn't have his guard up. He walked over and asked directly, "Kid, you're hunting here?" "Yeah." "Old grandpa." "Oh, no, uncle, where are you from?" "How come I don't know you?" Gooden asked honestly. "I'm here to look for someone. I'm not a local." "Let me ask you something. When you were hunting here, did you see 3 people? 2 of them were dressed like me, and the other one was an old man with 2 big axes in his hands." 7 chased them here, but didn't find any clues left by 12 and 6, so he asked Gooden. Chapter 30:11. 2 people who are dressed like you? And an old man with 2 big axes? Gooden remembered it right away. The 2 dead men beside Lin Yi, weren't they dressed the same as this guy? Gooden didn't notice it at the time, but now that 7 reminded him, it seemed like this person was with those 2. He was probably the enemy of that crazy axe old man. But, to confirm his guess, Gooden asked dumbly, "Is it a crazy old man with an axe? Are they fighting?" "Yes, yes. The 2 men in the same attire are from the same gang, and the crazy old man with the battle axe is from the same gang." "Do you see them?" "Where are they?" Old 7 quickly nodded, thinking that the country boy in front of him had indeed seen them. "Let me think which direction they went." Gooden scratched his head, acting like he was in deep thought. "Yes, think about it." Old 7 said quickly. "They're going there." Gooden pointed with his left hand and punched with his right while 7 was turning his head to look. Bam! With a loud bang, old 7 directly flew into the sky like a flying man. "Ah!" The 7th brother screamed in agony. His eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. He didn't think that a village boy who was hunting here would attack him without any warning. And with such strength. 7th felt as if his organs were about to explode. This was his last thought before he fell to the ground heavily, dying a wrongful death. He didn't understand why Gooden wanted to kill him, even when he died. Furthermore, how could a village boy possess such extraordinary strength? What was going on? He was a sky-class late-phase peak. In actuality, old 7's death was quite unjustified. He didn't have his guard up against Gooden at all. Think about it, this was a local village boy hunting here, and he had no grudges with old 7. They hadn't even met before, so why would he suddenly kill him? Plus, 7 was a sky-class late-phase peak. Even if this village boy attacked him, he wouldn't be able to do anything to him, right? This was one of the things 7 didn't guard against. But Gooden just did it, and it wasn't a normal assassin. He sent 7 straight to heaven. "Alright, you'll see those 2 soon," Gooden said honestly to 7's corpse. Gooden was an honest guy, but he wasn't stupid. Seven's two friends were dead, and his two friends were enemies of the axe-wielding freak. Lin Yi even said that he was allowed to get close, so didn't that mean that Lin Yi was on the freak's side? And so, Gooden killed Seven so that he wouldn't disturb Lin Yi's training. After killing Seven, Gooden continued patrolling nearby. Lin Yi, who wasn't far away, didn't expect that Gooden had just killed a sky-class late-phase peak from the Five-Element sect. Although Lin Yi heard some fighting sounds, he thought that Gooden was hunting. After all, 6 didn't make things clear, and Lin Yi didn't expect that there would be someone chasing after him. If he knew, Lin Yi would have told Gooden to carry him back. After killing 7, Gooden didn't bother Lin Yi. He patrolled around the area to see if anyone else was coming. But other than 7, no one else came. He waited until noon when Lin Yi called him. Gooden dragged 7's corpse to Lin Yi's side. Seeing the corpse in Gooden's hands, Lin Yi jumped. "Gooden, who is this? How come there's another corpse?" "Boss, this is the person I killed. He's the accomplice of the 2 dead people." Gooden said, "Before, when I was patrolling there, I met him. He asked me about the 2 people who were dressed like him, and about the sky-class madman with a battle axe. I was afraid that he would come to trouble me, so I killed him with 1 punch." "You killed him just like that?" Lin Yi knew about Gooden's strength, but he died just like that. Lin Yi still felt sorry for the Five-Element sect. He probably didn't even know how he died. I wonder what kind of expert he is. But he couldn't be weak. He had a sword on his waist. It should be his sky-class weapon. This person was at least a sky-class early phase. However, Lin Yi suddenly remembered what Old 6 and Old 12 had said. They mentioned Old 7, so this person should be the Old 7 that would come later. Old 6 was a sky-class late-phase peak, so this person couldn't be weak either. He was at least sky-class late-phase, or maybe he was also sky-class late-phase peak. He died a horrible death. But Lin Yi was very scared. If Gooden didn't come, he wouldn't be able to fight 7 when he recovered his chi and the sky-class freak wasn't there. Plus, even if he didn't recover his chi, he wouldn't be able to fight 7. "You hit him, and he didn't fight back?" Lin Yi asked quickly. "No, I lied to him." Gooden told the situation to Lin Yi, and Lin Yi couldn't help but laugh. This 7 was really unlucky. In his eyes, a weak village kid suddenly became a tiger. Gooden, you were really lucky. If you didn't lie to him, no one would be able to save you if he hit you." Lin Yi said. "Yes, so I had to outsmart him." Gooden nodded. "My Yuan said that I shouldn't always use brute force, I should use my brain." Haha. Lin Yi couldn't help but laugh. "Let's clean up and go back. Don't tell anyone about what happened today." "Boss, don't worry. Yuan and I won't tell anyone about this." Gooden nodded. Lin Yi searched the 3 corpses on the ground. He didn't expect them to be poor bastards. Other than 3 sky-class weapons, there was nothing else. There was a small box on the 7th brother's body. It was an antique box that was used to store pills, but it was empty. It could be assumed that after the 7th brother was injured by the strange heaven rank man, he used the 3rd grade great cyclic pill to recover. Chapter 30:12. Before, Lin Yi was worried about his sky class, but now he could open an armory. With the water element sky class he got from Snowy Valley, the ice element sky class from Zhang Liju's tomb, and the gale lightning boots he got from the assassins, Lin Yi had a total of 6 sky class weapons. Of course, Lin Yi didn't know if there were any that he could use. Every sky class weapon had its own practitioner's arts to bring out its full potential, but Lin Yi didn't have any of them right now. He could only go back and think of something. Gooden had already finished his hunting. He had a wild boar, a deer, and 2 pheasants on his shoulders. It was a full haul, and the 2 walked down the mountain. The morning in the village was bustling. The villagers liked to sleep early and wake up early. This was their life. Every morning, when the rooster crowed, they got up to work. Now, they had set up a small business at the entrance of the village. People in the mountain village also had the habit of going to the market in the morning. Even if there was no big market, the small market at the entrance of the village still made them very happy every morning. Gooden, you're back from hunting? What's the good game today? Let Uncle Wang choose first. Uncle Wang was in charge of the banquets in the village. Whoever had a wedding or a funeral, he would be in charge of the banquet. There weren't many big restaurants in the village, and every family would either have to cook or invite people to hold a banquet. Uncle Wang would go back and forth between the villages, doing the banquet business. These years, the villagers were getting rich, and so spending money to invite people to hold a banquet became a custom. Uncle Wang would often buy some game from Gooden, and when he held a banquet, he would put it on the important seats, like the elders, the head of the family, or the parents' table, to show how special they were. It's still wild boar, deer, and pheasant. Which one do you want, Uncle Wang? Gooden didn't hunt those rare animals under Yuan's influence. He only hunted some normal animals to sell. It wasn't as profitable as those rare animals, but it was enough to feed his family. Isn't this Lil Yi? You're back. Uncle Wang also knew Lin Yi. He was also an old man in the village. He was the younger brother of Widow Wang, who owned the grocery store at the entrance of the village. Uncle Wang, I came back to see my grandpa. Your business seems to be doing well. Lin Yi greeted Uncle Wang with a smile. Not bad, not bad. Uncle Wang grinned. It seemed that it was not bad. Uncle Wang's shout drew the attention of the other villagers to Lin Yi, who was next to Gooden. It really is Lil Yi. Yeah, Lil Yi, you came back by yourself this time? Your 3 pretty girlfriends didn't come back with you? 3? Lin Yi paused. Didn't he come back with Meng Yao and Yushu last time? He didn't remember Xiao Xiao ever coming here. How did she have 3 girlfriends? But Lin Yi thought that Lin Yi was mistaken. The situation was very messy, and all the villagers were talking to Lin Yi. Lin Yi could only nod and smile. After dealing with all of them, Lin Yi finally returned to his house. Lin Yi saw old Lin sitting in the yard, staring blankly. When he saw Lin Yi come back, a smile appeared on his face, but it disappeared quickly. He was still as calm as before. He said to Lin Yi faintly, You're back, Lil Yi? Ah. I'm back. Lin Yi felt a warmth in his heart. It seemed that according to last time, the old man had been waiting for him here for the whole morning. The old man acted like he didn't care, as if he was just enjoying the cool air in the yard. But who would do that in the middle of the day? What took you so long? Old man Lin asked in a seemingly casual manner. I ran into some trouble. 3 sky class enemies, Lin Yi said calmly. 3 sky class? Here? Old Lin's face froze. Why are they here? What kind of power are they from? At this moment, Lin Yi suddenly felt an indescribable domineering aura emanating from old Lin's body, making him, a sky class early phase, feel a little pressured. Fortunately, old Lin's expression returned to normal after saying that. It's 4 practitioners that happened to pass by here. They didn't come for me, but these 4 are related to me. Lin Yi said as he told old Lin about the 4's background and how they died. Oh. Gooden killed one? It's a good thing he went up the mountain. Otherwise, you'd be repairing it yourself. Old man Lin snorted in dissatisfaction. Next time, call me directly if you're in trouble. Alright, but I'm fine now, right? Lin Yi smiled. Old man, thank you for waiting for me for a day and a night. Why would I wait for you? I was basking in the sun. Old Lin said indifferently, you went up the mountain, and you didn't even say you wanted to hunt some wild game for this old man to eat? Do you have any filial piety? Lin Yi paused. He suddenly remembered that he went up the mountain to hunt some game, but he forgot about it when he met the sky class weirdo in old 6, old 7, and old 12. He came back after recovering his strength. Gooden did hunt a bunch, but Lin Yi forgot to ask him for it. I knew you weren't reliable. Forget it, I'll make some noodles myself. Old Lin stood up and was about to go into the house to cook. Old man, let me do it. Lin Yi quickly ran over and started a fire. Starting a fire was as simple as it could get for Lin Yi. He just treated it as a forging fire, burning all the firewood in the stove. Making noodles was Lin Yi's specialty. It was because of this that the Miss and Shu accepted him, and the old man was willing to eat the noodles made by Lin Yi. Aren't you in a hurry to see what you brought back? Old Lin asked, seeing how busy Lin Yi was. I haven't eaten yet either. Lin Yi smiled. Let's eat first. Old Lin looked at Lin Yi's back and nodded in satisfaction. After eating, Lin Yi went back to his room to study today's loot. Lin Yi wasn't in the mood to study the 3 Sky-class weapons. They looked precious, but Lin Yi didn't have any arts to use with them. Chapter 30:13. Lin Yi was interested in the contents of the small box, as well as the bamboo scroll that the strange man gave him. Lin Yi first opened the small box that he took out from the Shenyuan cave mansion. Although this was the 3rd time that Lin Yi had opened this kind of small wooden box, he was still excited. This was because every time a small box was opened, it meant that Lin Yi's strength would increase, and he would obtain more powerful abilities. The wooden box was opened, but there were no magical weapons inside. Although Lin Yi had already guessed that such a small box could not contain any magical weapons, Lin Yi was still quite disappointed. After all, the words of the 3rd stone door made Lin Yi fantasize that he could obtain a heaven-level magical weapon. Just like the last time, there were 4 neatly folded silk scrolls in the wooden box, which gave Lin Yi a familiar feeling. In the second wooden box that Lin Yi had obtained before, there were also 3 silk scrolls like this. He just didn't know if there was anything else other than the cultivation method of the 3rd level of the Art of Dragon Mastery this time. Without hesitation, Lin Yi reached out and picked up the first silk scroll, and carefully opened it. The Art of Dragon Mastery, the 5 words written in seal script leaped into Lin Yi's eyes. Lin Yi had seen the same words twice, on the 1st and 2nd level of the Art of Dragon Mastery. Sure enough, there was the mnemonic chant for the 3rd level of the Art of Dragon Mastery. As Lin Yi expected, there was a line of small words under the title of the mantra. It said, 3rd level, butterfly transformation. Similar to the mnemonic chant for the 2nd level of the Art of Dragon Mastery, there was also a line of annotations that exceeded the size of the title. The 1st level of the Art of Dragon Mastery is like the silk of a heavenly silkworm, progressing step by step. The 2nd level is like the white crane spreading its wings and soaring high, transforming the physique. The 3rd stage was like a butterfly breaking out of its cocoon, its strength undergoing a qualitative change. If you want to cultivate the 3rd level, you must first strengthen your meridians. You can complete the 1st step by opening the 3rd stone door. The 2nd step is to gather all the herbs and swallow them to complete the strengthening of your meridians. Remember, do not cultivate before the meridian reinforcement is completed. These 2 lines of annotations reminded Lin Yi of the 2nd level of body tempering. Back then, Lin Yi couldn't wait to temper his body. As a result, he tampered with the herbs in the body tempering formula, causing Lin Yi to go berserk and almost die. But this time, Lin Yi had learned his lesson and decided to use the method of the small box to strengthen his meridians. He would not tamper with any of the herbs. If Lin Yi's guess was right, one of the remaining 3 silk scrolls would be the so-called meridian reinforcement method. As for what the remaining 2 were, Lin Yi didn't know for the time being. But this was also the only thing that Lin Yi was glad about. This time, there was 1 more silk scroll compared to the previous time. That was equivalent to having 1 more benefit. Lin Yi put down the 3rd level mantra in his hand and took out the 2nd silk scroll from the small box. He opened it carefully and read it. The 4 big words, Meridian Reinforcement Formula, were reflected in Lin Yi's eyes. Sure enough, this was also a formula. It was similar to the body tempering formula previously, but the herbs in it were completely different. Under the meridian reinforcement formula, there were 4 big words. On it was written, Heaven-level magic weapon forging technique. After seeing these words, Lin Yi suddenly became very excited. He did not care about studying the meridian reinforcement formula first. Instead, he focused all his attention on the heaven-level magic weapon forging technique. Isn't this the heaven-level magic weapon that I've always wanted for myself? It turned out that the Xianyuan cave mansion did not provide heaven-level magic weapons. Instead, it let Lin Yi forge it himself. Thinking of this, Lin Yi quickly continued to read. Under the words, heaven-level magic weapon forging technique, there was a small line of words. The art of forging technique is intermediate chapter. Jade pendant condensation is elementary chapter. Only by mastering the condensation of the jade pendant space can one attempt to forge a heaven-level magic weapon. Seeing this, Lin Yi could not help but swear. Fuck. What a scam. I can't even condense the jade pendant space now. How can I forge a magic weapon? Even I can't skillfully use and control the forging fire, right? Jiao Lao, why do I feel like I can't keep up? Lin Yi asked, a little depressed. I've already opened the 3rd stone door, and I haven't even finished refining the jade pendant space. Isn't this too slow? It's not slow. Jiao Yazi said. Who told you to reach the 2nd stage of the art of dragon mastery so quickly? With Xinyan's help and the 5 inheritances helping you, your 2nd stage of the art of dragon mastery has reached perfection in advance. That's why you haven't mastered the forging fire yet. Once you've mastered the 2nd stage, you'll be able to start. You can even master a grand perfection? Lin Yi asked, stunned. Perfection only means that your heart has reached perfection. But even if your heart has reached this level, you can't fully unleash the power of this level. That's what I mean. Jiao Yazi explained. For example, if a practitioner's strength reached sky-class late-phase peak, but they did it in an instant. Although their strength has stabilized, you can't grasp this strength and use it to its fullest. Do you understand what I mean? I understand. You're saying that I leveled up too quickly, so I haven't mastered it yet. Lin Yi nodded, understanding Jiao Yazi's meaning. This made Lin Yi feel a lot more at ease. He continued reading. Compared to the meridian strengthening formula, Lin Yi was more interested in forging his own magic weapons. But when Lin Yi read on, a helpless and pained expression appeared on his face. After all, there were a lot of rare materials that Lin Yi had never heard of before. Fine steel, dark steel, colored steel, charcoal stone, pure yellow jade, blue crystal powder, blood of the pentadragon. There were many more materials than the jade. Other than the colored steel, pure yellow jade, and blue crystal powder, Lin Yi hadn't seen the others before. And when he saw the last material, Lin Yi almost spat out blood. The blood of the pentadragon? He might as well kill Lin Yi. Where was he going to get the blood of the pentadragon? The dragon of 5 evils was very powerful, throwing Lin Yi into the valley with one swipe of its claw. Unless the thing inside the jade came out and asked for it personally, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to get it. Asking Lin Yi to ask for it from the dragon of 5 evils was equivalent to asking for death. Chapter 30:14. Fine steel, dark steel? Lin Yi didn't have it, but Lin Yi had a dark steel rod. Could it be melted down and reused? If it was possible, it would solve a big problem. But other things wouldn't be so easy to find. Pure topaz, blue crystal powder, and colored steel were hard enough to find. The rest of the things would be even harder to find. Thinking of this, Lin Yi was a little discouraged. Jiao Lao. Isn't this a scam? Where can I find these materials? I don't know about this. You have to find a way yourself. Jiao Yazi also didn't know the source of these materials, but he said, anyway, it's not very urgent. You can condense the jade pendant first, and then look for it slowly. Sometimes, you may encounter a chance coincidence. Chance coincidence? Lin Yi was slightly stunned, and then he smiled bitterly. It seems that this is the only way. I'd better condense the space of the jade pendant first. After that, Lin Yi put down the second silk file and reached out to pick up the third silk file. What would this file be? Lin Yi was looking forward to it, but he was also a little nervous. Because Lin Yi couldn't guess what was in the third silk file. Last time, Lin Yi was looking forward to a martial arts technique. The martial arts technique's mental cultivation method was in his hands. What Lin Yi was looking forward to now was... It should be a method of using a heaven stage wizard weapon, right? When Lin Yi opened the silk file, a look of understanding flashed across Lin Yi's face. Sure enough, this was the mental cultivation method of using a heaven stage wizard weapon. It was the method of using the wizard weapon that he had forged before. However, before Lin Yi forged a wizard weapon, this mental cultivation method was useless. Lin Yi didn't even look at it carefully, and he closed it and put it back. After all, it was useless for Lin Yi to read it now. Lin Yi now remembered Jiao Yazi's words. Haste makes waste. It was useless to know the mental cultivation method in advance. He didn't even have a weapon, so how to use it was not important. It was better to take it step by step. It was better to spend the limited time on condensing the forging fire. This sky-class weapons practitioner's arts weren't too out of Lin Yi's expectations, but the last silk scroll, Lin Yi couldn't figure out what was in it, no matter how hard he thought about it. However, the more unknown it was, the more he looked forward to it. This made Lin Yi a little nervous all of a sudden. After taking a deep breath, Lin Yi opened the last silk file. However, when Lin Yi saw the 4 big words, mental cultivation method, on the file, he was a little surprised. Mental cultivation method? What's this? Isn't the art of dragon mastery my mental cultivation method? Where did this mental cultivation method come from? With a very puzzled mood, Lin Yi calmed down and began to read the content of the mental cultivation method carefully. What kind of mental cultivation method is this? Just these 4 words and the main body was below. There weren't any subtitles to explain the mental cultivation method. Moreover, this wasn't the end. What made Lin Yi even more puzzled was that the opening paragraph of this mental cultivation method was actually exactly the same as the opening paragraph of the Art of Dragon Mastery's first-level mental cultivation method. Could it be the same thing? Lin Yi was slightly stunned. He thought to himself that the person who placed it back then pretended to be a box. Because the content of this mental cultivation method was exactly the same as the first level of the Art of Dragon Mastery. However, when Lin Yi continued reading, he realized something was wrong. Because even though the opening paragraph of this mental cultivation method was the same as the opening paragraph of the Art of Dragon Mastery, the content at the back was completely different. Except, even though it was different, Lin Yi had a familiar feeling. This seemed to be the modified version of the Art of Dragon Mastery. Because the circulation pattern of this mental cultivation method seemed to be exactly the same as the Art of Dragon Mastery that Lin Yi cultivated. However, even though it was extremely similar, when Lin Yi studied it carefully, he realized that this was completely different. This mental cultivation method seemed to be some kind of supplementary mental cultivation method, and not an independent mental cultivation method. The more he read, the more puzzled Lin Yi became. Because in the middle of this mental cultivation method, there were some empty spaces. And in the empty spaces, there was a paragraph of annotation. On it was written, switching mental cultivation method. Lin Yi didn't know what this switching mental cultivation method meant. As he continued reading, it was another supplementary mental cultivation method. However, there were still empty spaces interspersed at the back. The annotation was still, switching mental cultivation method, and so on and so forth. Jiao Lao, what kind of mental cultivation method is this? Why is there an empty space in the middle? Switching mental cultivation method here, what kind of mental cultivation method do I want to switch? Lin Yi finally couldn't help but ask curiously. Oh, this mental cultivation method. I remember now. This is the same as the previous martial arts technique. They are both supplementary. Jiao Yazi recovered his memory, and he didn't seem to be clueless. Supplementary mental cultivation method? I can see this, but what does it mean by the same as the previous martial arts technique? Lin Yi was puzzled. That martial arts technique is an all-purpose martial arts technique. This mental cultivation method, could it be? Lin Yi suddenly had a flash of inspiration, and he thought of something. You got it? It's what you're thinking. Jiao Yazi nodded and said. All-purpose mental cultivation method? Lin Yi blurted out in shock. That's right, it's the all-purpose mental cultivation method. Together with this mental cultivation method, the interspersed space in the middle can be used to switch the other mental cultivation method. Then, you can smoothly use the other mental cultivation method. Jiao Yazi explained. For example, if you want to use someone else's mental cultivation method, you can use this method to smoothly use it. So magical? Lin Yi knew that the mental cultivation method was basically one and only for a practitioner. A practitioner could only practice one type of mental cultivation method at the same time, and they couldn't change the mental cultivation method at will. This was also the reason why Lin Yi didn't find a mental cultivation method for Meng Yao and Shu. After all, whether it was suitable or not was a big problem. But there was actually an all-purpose mental cultivation method? This was a little out of Lin Yi's expectation. But thinking about it, even martial arts techniques could be all-purpose, so why couldn't mental cultivation methods be all-purpose? Moreover, the art of dragon mastery was a mental cultivation method that could produce all-purpose qi. It could be considered as an all-purpose mental cultivation method. Chapter 30:15. I got it. Lin Yi nodded. Then are there any drawbacks or limitations to this all-purpose mantra? You'll find out if you keep reading. This mantra can only be practiced after the art of dragon mastery has reached the 3rd level. Otherwise, even if you practice it, you won't be able to simulate it. Jiao Yazi said. The 3rd level. Lin Yi's heart was filled with excitement. The first thing he thought of was the joint attack mantra he got from the hidden Zhuang house. If this all-purpose mantra was effective and could simulate the joint attack mantra, then Lin Yi could work with Han Jingjing, Guan Xian, and even Boss Bai to concoct pills. Concocting all kinds of 3rd-level pills wouldn't be a dream. When everyone's strength reached sky class, they might even be able to concoct 4th-level pills. However, the prerequisite was that the 3rd level of the art of dragon mastery was perfected. This seemed easy. It didn't take long for the 2nd level to be perfected, but that was due to luck. The 3rd level might not be so lucky. Thinking of this, Lin Yi took a deep breath. This gave him more motivation to practice. If he could use this mantra, then Lin Yi and the people around Lin Yi would have a qualitative leap in strength. It could be said that reaching the peak of sky class was no longer a dream. Although Lin Yi wasn't good at concocting pills, Han Jingjing, Guan Xian, and Boss Bai were. Lin Yi only needed to provide support for the 3 of them, allowing their strengths to fuse together for concocting pills. However, after the excitement, Lin Yi calmed down. After all, the 3rd level of the art of dragon mastery couldn't be reached in a day, so Lin Yi decided not to think about it for now. Instead, he decided to practice the 3rd level of the art of dragon mastery and condense the forging fire. Although the items were already in his hands, Lin Yi still planned to stay at home for a while. After all, Lin Yi wanted to spend some time with him, so in the following days, Lin Yi lived a simple life in the village. Other than training, Lin Yi and Air Gooden went hunting in the West Star Mountain every day, satisfying old Lin's appetite. Of course, with old Lin's strength, he was more than capable of hunting in the mountains, but the problem was that Lin Yi wasn't home, so old Lin rarely used the fire. As for the bamboo scroll that the strange man gave him, Lin Yi didn't open it. This was given to Lear by the strange man. Although in the eyes of the strange man, Lin Yi was Lear, Lin Yi wasn't the kind of person who would steal other people's things. Lin Yi decided to let Faubert take a look at it after he returned. If Faubert agreed to let him see it, then he could read the contents openly. Of course, Lin Yi also understood that this was just a formality. With the relationship between Faubert's family and Lin Yi, even without the incident with Sun Jingyi, Faubert would not hesitate to let him see it because of his family. He even taught him the frenzy fire fist. What was there to hide? But this was out of respect for Faubert. After Lin Yi returned, he put away the bamboo scroll and never touched it again. Heavenly Elixir Sect, Ancestor Xuanqin's room. Little one rushed over from the Five Elements sect because something big happened in the Five Elements sect. Ancestor Xianqin was discussing Lin Yi's matter with Kang Mingming. These days, Kang Mingming was extremely depressed, but he didn't dare to say it out. He could only endure it. The reason was that the silkworm transformation wanted to betroth Little Peach to Kang Mingming. Little Peach was very happy, but Kang Mingming was not. If Little Peach married him, she would lose her position as a maid to serve the silkworm transformation. Kang Mingming originally pursued Little Peach because she was the favorite of the silkworm transformation. But now that she lost her position as a maid, what was the use? Little Peach looked like an ordinary woman. How could Kang Mingming like her? He used to play with beauties like Xiao Fun, and he still wanted to touch Guan Xian. It could be seen that Kang Mingming's standards were still very high. To put it bluntly, he was only using Little Peach. However, Ancestor Xianqin happily told this matter to Kang Mingming. Kang Mingming couldn't say much. After all, the silkworm transformation had already made a decision, and Ancestor Xianqin didn't know the truth. If he told the truth, not only would Ancestor Xianqin be unhappy, the silkworm transformation would also be unhappy, and Little Peach would be even more unhappy. If Little Peach didn't marry and continued to stay by the silkworm transformation's side and said a few bad things about him, Kang Mingming. Even if he was the disciple of Ancestor Xianqin, facing the silkworm transformation's anger would be enough to make him suffer. Therefore, the current situation was that he had to take Little Peach whether he wanted it or not. He had to marry her. Therefore, Kang Mingming could only pretend to be happy and said, "Thank you, Master, for caring about this disciple's private life. Well, you are my disciple. I heard that you like Little Peach, so I can't ignore you. While you are giving the human cauldron to young sect leader Tian, I want Little Peach back for you. This is actually an opportunity that you found yourself. If it wasn't for this human cauldron, Little Peach would have to serve young sect leader Tian for a period of time. Then you would have to wait." Ancestor Xianqin said. "Yes, it seems that this disciple has done a good deed." Kang Mingming nodded and said, but in his heart, he was very sad. He wanted to slap himself twice. This human cauldron thing was really fucked up. He thought it was a good thing, but now it seemed that he was digging his own grave. Not only was Ancestor Xianqin not very happy, but he was also unhappy now. "By the way, Master, that Lin Yi has returned to normal. Are we still going to refine the extreme qi gathering pill?" Kang Mingming suddenly thought of a very important question and asked quickly. "Well, that's about to be refined." Ancestor Xianqin nodded and said, "But there is no hurry for the time being. You should first refine a marrow and bone cleansing pill for the everyday sect. After all, they are also considered to be our cooperating sect." "Yes, Master." Although Kang Mingming wanted to refine the extreme qi gathering pill for Lin Yi first and then eat Lin Yi to death, he could only listen to Ancestor Xuanqin's instructions when he was asked to refine the marrow and bone cleansing pill. While the two of them were talking, there was a rapid knock on the door of Ancestor Xuanqin's room. Ancestor Xianqin frowned and asked, "Who is it?" "What is it?" "Master, it's me, Little Yi." Little Yi's voice came from outside. Chapter 30:16. Master, bad news. Something big has happened. Little E said anxiously as soon as he entered the door. He did not look like his usual calm self at all. Instead, he looked more like a young boy. Of course, Little Ye's appearance was actually quite young, but his actual age was not that young anymore. But even so, Little One's age was still relatively young among the disciples of the Xianxin ancestor. At the very least, Little 6 and Little 7 were older than him. Of course, a heaven rank expert at Kang Xiaoming's age was considered a rather heaven-defying existence. There was nothing that could be copied. The heaven stage experts of the Five Elements sect were all genuine heaven stage experts. They had not taken the Qi gathering pill to increase their strength. After all, these people hoped to break through to the way of heaven. Once they took the Qi gathering pill, they would not be able to absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth from the outside world. How could they break through to the way of heaven? Even if they ate the Qi gathering pill and became a great perfection expert with the strength of the late stage of the heaven stage, they would not be fated with the way of heaven. Who would do such a stupid thing? Little E, what happened? Why are you in such a hurry? Ancestor Xianxin frowned. He could not think of what could have happened to the Five Elements sect to make Little E so anxious. Master, 6th brother, 7th brother, and 12th brother should have already. As he spoke up to hear, Little One instantly felt a little sad. They were all fellow disciples who had been with him for decades, and they were gone just like that. How could he not feel sad? Already what? What happened to them? Ancestor Xuanqin's heart skipped a beat. He had a bad feeling. Old 6, Old 7, and Old 12 are probably no longer in this world. Little One said sadly, their soul jade tablets are all broken. What? Ancestor Xianxin suddenly stood up and looked at Little E in disbelief. What's going on? What the hell is going on? Tell me clearly, aren't 6th, 7th and 12th cultivating in the sect? How did they die so inexplicably? Master, this is all Little Ye's fault. I should not have let them chase after that crazy old man from the Fiery Lion sect. Little E knelt on the ground and said with self-blame. The crazy old man from the Fiery Lion sect? That crazy old man? He came to the Five Elements sect again? Patriarch Xianxin raised his eyebrows and asked. Yes, he sneaked into the Five Elements sect and stole the mantra to use the spirit weapon of the 11th. He has visited our Five Elements sect more than once before, but he always slipped away. This time, he happened to run into the 6th, 7th and 12th brothers who were heading to the Sutras Pavilion, so they started fighting. Little One hurriedly said, the sound of the battle attracted me, and that old lunatic escaped, while Old 6, Old 7, and Old 12 all chased after him. I saw that Old 6 and Old 7 were experts at the peak of the late stage of heaven stage, and with Old 12's help, it should be more than enough to kill that old lunatic, so I didn't care about him and let them chase. In the end, all their soul jade tablets shattered? Patriarch Black Earth's breathing hastened as he asked. Yes, the patrolling disciple reported that the soul jade tablets of Old 6, Old 7, and Old 12 were all shattered. Little One said in pain. It's not your fault, you can get up. Patriarch Black Earth waved his hand and said, logically speaking, Little 6 and Little 7 are experts at the peak of the late stage of heaven stage, and that old lunatic is only at the peak of the late stage of heaven stage. 2 against 1, with the help of Old 12, there should be no suspense in killing him. Could it be that something happened during this process? Or has that old lunatic already broken through to the peak of the late stage of heaven stage? Even if he has the strength of the great perfection, under the encirclement of the 3 of them, it should only be a draw. If the 3 of them can't beat him, they can still retreat, but it shouldn't be to the extent of being completely annihilated. Little One said. That's true, could it be that they met the help of an expert? However, even if an expert came, it would need to be an expert at the peak of the late stage of heaven stage to be able to kill all of them, but there are only a few experts at the peak of the late stage of heaven stage, and I know all of them. Who would come out to help an old lunatic kill my disciple? Experts who can reach the peak of the late stage of heaven stage also know of the existence of our 5 elements sect, and definitely recognize the clothes of little 6 and the others. That's really strange. Little one also fell into deep thought. Previously, he only came to report in a hurry, but he didn't think so deeply into things. Now that he thought about it, this matter was full of strangeness. Lord Master, eldest senior brother, do you think it's Lin Yi who interfered? Kang Ming pondered for a moment and said, previously, didn't you say that Lin Yi was in cahoots with that old lunatic when he was in the Wulongheot mountain range? Lin Yi? When Patriarch Black Earth heard this name, he couldn't help but shake his head. Zhao Ming, I know you hate Lin Yi in your heart and want me to kill him, but don't I also want Lin Yi to die? It's just that I'm restricted by that guy Xiantian. He helped us cultivate the wood inheritor, so I can't fall out with him. We can only live in peace for the time being. If you want to touch Lin Yi, you must be reasonable, otherwise, you can only use underhanded means. If you want to say that Lin Yi, a wandering cultivator who has just advanced to the heaven stage, can kill little 6, little 7, and little 12, that's completely unrealistic. Moreover, Lin Yi and that old lunatic actually don't have much of a relationship. That person is a lunatic, what relationship can he have with Lin Yi? Yes, how can the experts of our 5 elements sect be ordinary experts? They can all fight above their level. It's already not bad for Lin Yi to be able to beat old 12. Little one also said disapprovingly, if Lin Yi has such ability, then we might as well commit suicide. After cultivating for so many years and reaching the peak of the late stage of heaven stage, his strength is still not as good as a wandering cultivator who has just advanced to the early stage of heaven stage. Oh. Kang Ming just mentioned it casually, but it had to be said that his broken mouth often hit the mark by a fluke. It was like this when he was in the Kang family, and it was still the same when he was in the Heavenly Elixir sect. However, there were not many people who believed him. Okay, let's not study this anymore. Are there any clues? Patriarch Black Earth asked. No, I don't know where they are now, so there's no way to start looking for clues. Little one shook his head helplessly. Old 6 and old 12 only began to leave marks after old 7 was injured in order to make old 7 chase after them. However, the marks were already very far away from the 5 elements sect, so the people of the 5 elements sect couldn't find the place where they fell at all. Chapter 30:17. Yes, this is also the reason why I'm helpless. If I can find that old thing, I will personally kill him. Little E said hatefully. Let's put this matter aside for now. Since you are here, I have something to ask you to do. Patriarch Xiantian waved his hand and said, go and investigate the secular Sun family. See who in the Sun family knows how to use the healing mantra and has not healed others. Oh. What do you mean? Little E was stunned. He did not understand what Patriarch Xiantian meant. After all, he usually did not pay attention to the secular world and basically did not know about the secular Sun family. Kang Ming, tell Little E about the secular Sun family, Patriarch Xiantian instructed Kang Ming. Yes, Master. Kang Ming nodded, then turned to look at Little E and said, eldest senior brother, the secular Sun family is like this. As he spoke, Kang Xiaoming told Little One about the Sun family in the secular world, as well as the treatment of Tag and Dragon. Oh. In that case, there is hope for Tag and Dragon to recover? Little E was stunned and was pleasantly surprised. This was the only thing worth being happy about after the deaths of old 6, old 7, and old 12. It's possible. Kang Ming nodded and said, but I don't know much about the secular Sun family. You also know that our Kang family was not even an ordinary family in the past. We can't come into contact with these secrets. In fact, to put it bluntly, Kang Ming's family was too low-end, and the 5 elements sect was too high-end, so they did not know about the secular Sun family. Okay, then I will start investigating. Little One hurriedly nodded and agreed, Master, about old 6, old 7, an old 12, don't worry about that for now. If there's really an existence that can kill them, then its whereabouts won't be something you can easily investigate. Patriarch Xianchen muttered in his heart. Who did this? However, on the surface, he was very calm, as if this matter was not worth mentioning. He waved his hand and said, I will investigate this matter myself. Yes, master, this disciple will go back now. Little one hurriedly responded, cupped his fists, and left. After little one left, the Black Earth Patriarch sighed. He suddenly realized that not everything was under his control. For example, he was still powerless against the unknown changes that had occurred today. In East Ocean City, a dusty Land Rover suddenly stopped in front of Lin Yi's mansion, and a handsome young man got out of the car. However, this young man was a bit coquettish. He was wearing bright red clothes, and if he were in a public place, he would be the center of attention. However, in this villa area, basically no one passed by, so his dressing didn't attract anyone's attention. The young man got out of the car, held a map in his hand, and carefully compared it for a long time. After confirming that the address was correct, he rang the doorbell. Today was the weekend, and Lin Yi wasn't at home, so Meng Yao and Yushu didn't go out either. Instead, they quietly waited at home for Lin Yi to come back. At this time, someone rang the doorbell, which surprised the two. Shu, go see who's here first. I'll take out the clothes from the washing machine and hang them up. Meng Yao was washing clothes, so she said to Yushu, who was watering the flowers. Okay. Yushu walked out of the villa with a kettle. When she came to the villa's courtyard, she saw a young man in fiery red standing outside. She asked curiously, Who are you? Who are you looking for? Yushu didn't know the person in front of her. She was sure that Lin Yi didn't have such a friend. Hello, you're young hero Lin's bro Lin's family, right? The fiery young man cupped his fists respectfully. I'm from the southern suburbs Flaming Mountain sect, the young master of Flaming Mountain, Huasianyan. I have something to discuss with young hero Lin, bro Lin. Flaming Mountain? Huasianyan? I don't know him. Yushu's face changed slightly as she waved her hand subconsciously, gesturing for Huasianyan to leave. What kind of nonsense are you talking about? Aurora Borealis. Ugh. Pretty lady, it's normal that you don't know me, but you get used to it. This is young hero Lin's bro Lin's house, right? Huasianyan asked awkwardly. I don't know you. There's no young hero Lin here, and there's no bro Lin. Just leave. With that, Yushu turned around to go back into the house, ignoring him. Don't. Open the door first. We can talk things out. This is definitely young hero Lin's villa. The property management company has confirmed it. Huasho looked at the markings on the map, then looked at the house number. He called out curiously, Beauty, please wait. Meng Yao had just finished hanging the clothes and was walking out of the villa when she saw Yushu walking back with Huasianyan yelling non-stop. Shu, who's this guy? Is he here for Lin Yi? I don't know him, he's a psycho. Yushu's expression was a little unnatural, and she looked unusually agitated. She turned around abruptly and poured the water on Huasianyan. Why aren't you leaving? I'll call the cops and sue you for harassment. Huasianyan didn't expect Yushu to pour water on him like that, and he wasn't prepared for it. He was drenched in the water, and he looked a little embarrassed. But he was here for an alliance with Lin Yi, and he didn't dare get angry. Who knew who this big-breasted girl was to Lin Yi? What if she was Lin Yi's wife? Offending her was the same as offending Lin Yi. And so, Huasianyan could only put on a smile and speak carefully. I'm really here for someone, can't we talk nicely? I'm not a bad guy. Shu, what's going on? Meng Yao frowned. She didn't understand what Shu was doing, messing with a guest like this. Don't mind him, Yao Yao, he's in the wrong place. Yushu said as she pulled Meng Yao into the villa. Wait, this is Lin Bro's villa, isn't it? I'm here to visit him. Hua Xianyun yelled. You're here for Lin Yi? Meng Yao turned around and looked at Hua Xianyun, confused by Shu's actions. Shu, he's here for Lin Yi, right? Ugh. Yao Yao, this guy doesn't look like a good guy. Yushu said. Chapter 30:18. Meng Yao was probably Lin Yi's concubine now that Yushu was calling Meng Yao sis. He didn't dare offend her, and could only ask meekly. Who are you? Why are you here to see Lin Yi? Meng Yao blushed, but didn't refute. She didn't even know this guy, so there was no need to explain so much to him. Yushu, on the other hand, froze when she heard the way Meng Yao addressed her. She realized that she'd misunderstood something. Meng Yao was here for Lin Yi, not for her. Yushu subconsciously thought that Meng Yao was here for her, and even said that they'd get to know each other better. That was why Yushu reacted so strongly. Now that she heard Meng Yao call her sister-in-law, she was very happy. Oh, at least you know your place. I'm Shield Bro's concubine. Shield Bro? Meng Yao paused. He didn't know who Yushu was talking about, but he channeled his practitioner's arts and evaporated the water on his body. He was a fire practitioner, so it was easy for him to do that. You're a practitioner? Meng Yao was surprised, but she turned to Shu. Why did you say that Lin Yi wasn't here? Oh. That's because he's looking for Lin Yi or Lin Bro. There's only Lin Yi Shield Bro here, no Lin Yi or Lin Bro. That's why Shu chased him away. Yushu explained. Meng Yao clearly felt that Yushu was talking nonsense, but she couldn't ask in front of outsiders. She explained to Meng Yao. Shu just calls Lin Yi Shield Bro, there might be a misunderstanding. I'm Meng Yao, the young master of the southern suburbs Flaming Mountain sect. I'm here to visit Brother Lin, could you two please introduce me to him? Even though Flaming Cloud was puzzled by Shu's reaction, he finally understood what was going on and quickly explained. Fiery Mountain's Fiery Cloud? Meng Yao nodded. She'd never heard of this sect before, but it was clear that this guy wasn't hostile. If he was, he wouldn't be talking to her so nicely if Yushu had splashed water all over him. Lin Yi's out on some business, he's not back yet. Is there something you need from him? It's like this. Our Fiery Mountain sect has a deep grudge with Zhang Naipeo of the Everyday and Everyday sect. Have you guys heard of him? Hua Hongyun asked. Zhang Naipeo? Meng Yao blinked. He's a classmate of mine, Shu, and Lin Yi, you're all classmates. Hua Shou was momentarily stunned, his expression changing slightly. Could it be that you're also disciples of the Everyday and Everyday sect? How could we be disciples of the Everyday and Everyday sect? Meng Yao paused as well, not understanding what was going on. So you're saying that Naipeo is your classmate? Hua Hongyun didn't think it was possible. If Lin Yi and Naipeo were from the same sect, then he wouldn't have done anything to Naipeo. He came from an ancient sect, so he wasn't too clear on the concept of classmates. He thought that they were from the same sect, but now that he thought about it, he understood. Could it be that you and Naipeo are classmates from the common world? Yeah, we're high school classmates. Meng Yao nodded. High school? Hua Hongyun paused once more. He didn't know about Naipeo's discipleship, and with how strong Naipeo was, he thought that Naipeo was a core disciple of the Everyday and Everyday sect since he was young. But Meng Yao said that they were high school classmates, and Meng Yao didn't seem that old. Didn't that mean that Naipeo had only been in the Everyday and Everyday sect for a while? He quickly asked. Then may I ask, what year are you guys in? First year of university, why? Meng Yao felt that Hua Hongyun's question was a little strange. Then. So you're saying that Naipeo has been in the Everyday and Everyday sect for 3 years at most? Hua Hongyun was in disbelief. Naipeo had gotten this strong in such a short time. Was it because the everyday sect was too strong, or was Naipeo's talent too overpowered? Less than a year. Meng Yao shook her head. His strength is indeed quite fast, even a little faster than Lin Yi. At first, Lin Yi was a golden class, and Naipeo was just a normal person, but now, both of them are sky class early phase. Pft. Cough cough cough. Meng Yao's words made Hua Hongyun cough non-stop. He could admit that Naipeo was fast. After all, the everyday sect was one of the strongest sects in the ancient times. But Lin Yi was a freelancer, and yet he'd gone from golden class to sky class in less than a year. What kind of concept was that? One had to know that it was extremely difficult for a freelancer to break through, especially when Lin Yi was still so young. This was something that Hua Hongyun couldn't imagine. How was this Naipeo faster than Lin Yi? It was Lin Yi who knew how many times faster than Naipeo. How could a freelancer and a sect disciple be compared? Hua Hongyun suddenly realized that Lin Yi was still an Earth class late phase before, wasn't he? He'd been able to beat Naipeo in the test as an Earth class late phase, but how long had it been? And now Lin Yi had stepped into sky class early phase? Didn't that make him even stronger? As far as Hua Hongyun was concerned, Lin Yi's sky class early phase was a lot stronger than Naipeo's. If Naipeo was still sky class early phase, then Lin Yi would be able to beat him. What's wrong? Meng Yao looked at Hua Hongyun, surprised. Actually, Meng Yao had pointed out Lin Yi's strength because she didn't trust him. She'd brought out Lin Yi's strength so that Hua Hongyun wouldn't dare act recklessly if he really had ulterior motives. It's nothing. Brother Lin is strong indeed. May I ask when he'll be back? Hua Hongyun asked. That's hard to say. If you want to find him, you can come here often. Meng Yao said. Then. Can I stay here and wait for Brother Lin to come back? Hua Hongyun asked. His way of thinking was that of the Jianghu. As far as he was concerned, visiting someone and staying in someone else's house was very normal. After all, many ancient sects were deep in the mountains and forests, and there were very few who had inns. Most of them stayed in other sects' houses. That's not really convenient. We're not that familiar with each other anyway. Meng Yao rejected his request. Chapter 30:19. Oh, Chen Tian, this is the young master of Flaming Mountain, Hua Shouyun. Have you heard of him? Meng Yao introduced. He's here to visit Lin Yi. Oh. Hua Shouyun? Chen Tian paused, but he still extended his hand. Hello, I'm Lin Yi's follower, Wu Chen Tian of the Common House Wu, an Earth class late phase peak. What? Common House Wu? Earth class late phase peak? Hua Shouyun jumped. A common house had an Earth class late phase peak? What was going on? Had he stayed in the ancient sects for too long that he didn't know what was going on outside? How could a common house be as strong as a hidden house? And he was just a junior, an Earth class late phase peak. Compared to the ancient sects, this wasn't too far off, was it? Chen Tian was afraid that Hua Shouyun was up to no good, so he pointed out his strength first. Seeing the surprised look on Hua Shouyun's face, he continued, that's right, our boss has a lot of followers, like the hidden House Shuang, House Han, and House Pai. They're all Earth class late phase peak. Chen Tian being an Earth class late phase peak wasn't a big deal, but Hua Shouyun was surprised that all of Lin Yi's followers were Earth class late phase peak. Was this a coincidence or something else? But as far as Hua Shouyun knew, even hidden house disciples couldn't have a large number of Earth class late phase peak, right? Could it be that their strength had something to do with Lin Yi? Otherwise, why would they all be stuck at Earth class late phase peak? Not more, not less. With that thought, Hua Shouyun felt that visiting Lin Yi was the right decision. Lin Yi was much stronger than he thought. Alright, since Brother Lin isn't here, I'll set up camp nearby and wait for him to come back. Hua Shouyan said, I have a tent in the car, I've been staying in the tent all this time, so I'm used to it. Ah. You want to stay at the entrance? Meng Yao felt that it wasn't polite to let a guest stay at the door. She wanted to let Fire Cloud go back first, but he was determined to wait here. Meng Yao hesitated and said to Shu, why don't we let him come in and stay with Wu Qintian? No. Yushu yelped in response, but realized that she was overreacting. She quickly explained, I can't sleep at night if someone I'm not familiar with moves in. Although Yushu was temporarily sure that Fire Cloud wasn't here to cause trouble for her, she was still afraid that Fire Cloud would find out as time went on. She didn't want to have anything to do with Fire Cloud, and she naturally rejected him. Meng Yao frowned as she looked at Shu's determined face, but she couldn't bring it up anymore. After all, Shu was part of the villa, and she couldn't ignore Shu's opinion. But Meng Yao knew that it wasn't because Yushu couldn't sleep. A few days ago, Old Pai, Old Han, and a bunch of other people stayed in the villa, and Yushu didn't seem to be out of place. It's fine, I'm quite used to living here. Fire Cloud was troubled. He didn't seem to have offended Yushu at all, did he? Why did it seem like she didn't like him? You can't stay here, either. Go back and wait. Maybe you can leave your contact number, and I'll get Shield Bro to contact you when he comes back. Yushu didn't want to see Fire Cloud every day. She wouldn't be in a good mood if she saw him. Yushu didn't have a good impression of Flaming Mountain at all. If it weren't for this sect, her parents wouldn't have been captured, and they wouldn't have been threatened by House Yu. Even if Hua Hanyun looked innocent, Yushu didn't like him. Fire Cloud was really helpless. He looked at Meng Yao and Qintian. I don't have any bad intentions, I'm just here to visit Lin Bro, Master Lin. Shu, no matter what, this is Lin Yi's guest. He's not staying at your house, are you not letting him stay outside? Meng Yao felt that it was a little unreasonable. You had to have a reason to not let him stay outside, right? Wasn't this just unreasonable? Hua Mingyun was, after all, the young master of an ancient sect. At this time, he was really feeling wronged. He was here to visit Lin Yi, and he didn't stay at his house. Couldn't he stay at his door? Even a clay figurine would have a temper. Fire Cloud didn't have a fire? Of course, Fire Cloud didn't dare to have a fire. He could clearly feel that if he left, Yushu wouldn't tell him even if Lin Yi came back. He decided to act shamelessly. This doorstep is a public area, not your house. I'm staying here, what can you do? I'll stay here. With that, Fire Cloud drove the car to the public parking lot in the villa area and set up a tent in the grass, ignoring Yushu. Meng Yao shrugged helplessly. She didn't care about Fire Cloud, but Yushu was the problem. Why was she reacting so strongly? Alright, Shu, let's go back. Don't worry about him. He's staying outside, he won't affect us. Meng Yao pulled Yushu. Man, alright. What if he takes Shu away? Yao Yao won't be able to see Shu anymore. Yushu mumbled. What nonsense are you talking about? Why would he take you away? He's here for Lin Yi, isn't he? Meng Yao was curious about Shu's behavior today. She waited until they entered the villa before asking, Shu, what's wrong with you today? Why do you look so weird? Does this person have something against you? I don't know. Anyway, Shu just doesn't like him. I don't want him here. Yushu said. Then we have to talk to Lin Yi, right? Why don't you give Lin Yi a call and tell him about this? Let's see what he says. Meng Yao didn't have a choice. If Shu didn't say anything, there was no point in asking. But she had to talk to the person involved, right? Alright, I'll call Shield Bro. Yushu hesitated and nodded. With that, Yushu picked up the phone and walked upstairs. Meng Yao was confused. Shu, why do you have to go upstairs to make a call? Can't you just call downstairs? Don't you want to mess around? Oh. That. It's like this. I miss Shield Bro, and I want to talk to him. Wu Tian is downstairs, I'm sorry. Yushu said. Chapter 30-20. Tian shrugged awkwardly, finding it weird. Yushu kept saying that she wanted to be Lin Yi's small wife in front of him. Was there a time when she was embarrassed? I'll go make the call. Yushu didn't say much and went upstairs. Meng Yao wanted to follow her, but Tian was there too. He'd think that she was eavesdropping on Yushu's secret if she went up, but the miss didn't think that Shu had anything to hide. She'd go up and ask if it was any other time. Yushu went upstairs and dialed Lin Yi's number. Lin Yi was cooking for old Lin when his phone rang. It was Shu's number, and Lin Yi quickly picked it up. Shu, what's up? Under normal circumstances, Meng Yao and Yushu wouldn't call when Lin Yi was outside, unless something really happened at home. Shield Bro, it's like this, there's someone called Huosianyun from Flaming Mountain looking for you. He's camped outside our villa right now, don't come back. Yushu said urgently to Lin Yi. What Flaming Mountain, Huosianyun? Why is he looking for me? Is he after me? All the more reason for me to go back. Lin Yi blinked, not understanding what was going on. Don't come back, he's a sky-class late-phase peak, you can't beat him even if you come back. Yushu said, he'll leave by then if you come back later. Sky-class late-phase peak. Lin Yi blinked, then wouldn't he be after you and Yao Yao if I don't go back? No, he wouldn't dare. That's because the ancients couldn't just attack normal people in the common world. Shield Bro's a practitioner, he's different. Yushu said, making up a story based on the information she got from Lin Yi. But what she said was possible, and so Lin Yi nodded, believing her. Then I should go back too, right? I can't just hide, can I? Aya, it's fine. He doesn't have any bad intentions towards you, he just wants your help, a super troublesome one. He wants you to help him kill Zhang Naipeo, isn't that just asking for trouble? So, it's enough to make him retreat. Yushu started making up a story based on what Huongyun had asked Naipeo, coming up with this excuse. Oh, is that so? This time, Lin Yi believed Yushu's words even more. After all, there was a disciple from Fire Mountain called Master Yang who got killed by Naipeo in the Sky Elixir sex test. It made sense that Fire Mountain would ask Lin Yi to help them get revenge. After all, Zhang Naipeo's arts and techniques were extremely powerful, and he was the only one who could counter him right now. It was only natural that the Fiery Mountain people would ask for help. But, Lin Yi really didn't want to help, because Naipeo had returned to the everyday sect. If Lin Yi went looking for trouble, wouldn't that be suicide? The everyday sect didn't just have one Zhang Naipeo, there were many other masters. It was already good enough that they didn't come looking for trouble with Lin Yi, but now that Lin Yi had come looking for them, they wouldn't let him go so easily. And so, Lin Yi didn't want to accept this kind of task. And if he rejected Huosianyun, that would mean offending an ancient sect like Huosianyun. While Lin Yi wasn't afraid of offending people, it was best to avoid making enemies out of nowhere. Just like what Shu said, if Huosianyun couldn't wait for Lin Yi, then he'd leave on his own. That was the best case scenario. And so, Lin Yi sighed, alright, I'll wait a bit before going back. But help me take a look at this guy. If he doesn't have any bad intentions, then I'll go back early. After all, it's up to me to help. Okay, but I think he's a bad guy. Shu, keep Shield Bro updated on what's going on here. Yushu said. After hanging up, Lin Yi shook his head. Why did this guy from Huosianyun come over? Was this a good thing or a bad thing? But thinking about Huosianyun, Lin Yi decided to give Faubert a call and ask. After all, Faubert's sect was also a fire element sect. Maybe he had some connection with Huosianyun. This way, Lin Yi could get more information about Huosianyun. With that thought, Lin Yi called Faubert. Lil E? Falbert had been extremely busy these days. His new company had taken root in Donghai, and he had given Fatty Lai a large sum of money. Falbert and Chu Pengzhan had to work even harder to earn money. They didn't even have time to visit Sun Jingyi. What's the matter? I'm in a meeting. I see. I also wanted to ask about Hua Xianyun. If you're busy, Falbert, just give me a call later. Lin Yi said. It's fine, I'm not busy. Falbert heard Lin Yi's question and knew that Lin Yi had something important to ask. He quickly stood up and walked out of the meeting room. It's just me and Mr. Chu, it's fine. You go first. Alright, Falbert, it's like this. Do you know about this ancient sect called Hua Xianyun? Lin Yi didn't hold back and asked directly. Of course I know about Hua Xianyun. Why, do you have a grudge against this sect? Falbert asked after some thought. No, it's like this. Lin Yi told Falbert about Hua Xianyun asking him for help against the Everyday and Every Sun sect. Oh, so that's how it is. Uncle Fu heaved a sigh of relief after hearing this and said, actually, the Blazing Mountain and my sect have quite a deep relationship. You're both from a fire element sect, I've guessed that. Lin Yi said with a nod. My sect is actually called the Fire Lion sect. The founder of the sect was actually the younger brother of one of Hua Xianyun's sect master. The two of them quarreled and had conflicts with each other, so the younger brother left the sect to establish his own sect. But no matter what, the two sects still have a good relationship with each other. In the future, they will continue to interact with each other, said Uncle Fu. So you're saying that you and that Hua Xianyun are relatives, Falbert? Lin Yi couldn't help but be surprised. Chapter 30-21. In the past, there was a sect leader who disappeared in pursuit of the heavenly Tao. He did not leave behind any heirs, so my ancestor, the great elder of the sect, inherited the position of sect leader. Falbert continued, in fact, the Flame Mountain should be the same, but the Flame Mountain is more traditional. The person who inherits the sect leader must change his surname to Hua, in order to commemorate the founder of the sect. This is also the custom of other ancient sects. So that's how it is. Lin Yi suddenly understood. No wonder Bingtang's surname was Bing. And Lin Yi also understood why the Flame Mountain did not rush to help Falbert's sect when it was in trouble. The relationship between the two sects was only good, there was no longer any familial love between them. It was impossible for the Flame Mountain to sacrifice their own interests in order to save the Fire Lion sect. However, I am not particularly familiar with the Flame Mountain. My master had more dealings with the Flame Mountain in the past. Falbert said. Right, speaking of your master, I saw him again when I came back. Lin Yi said. Oh. I saw him again? What do you mean? Why did my master go to your hometown? Falbert was somewhat puzzled after hearing Lin Yi's words. After all, Lin Yi's hometown was located in a remote area. Why would Falbert's master go to that place? Lin Yi did not say anything about the 3 heaven stage experts that were killed. He only said, you also know that master is crazy. It is fine when he is awake, but when he is not, no one can understand why he would do something. Lin Yi also called the heaven stage eccentric master. The two of them could be considered to have some friendship. That's true. Falbert no longer doubted after hearing this. After all, you can't use a normal person's thinking to measure a madman. How is master? Is he still together with you? That's not it. Lin Yi shook his head and said, master gave me a bamboo scroll, saying that it was some sort of secret manual from the enemy. However, he said that it was for Li, so I didn't read it. Isn't giving it to me equivalent to giving it to you? Quickly open it and take a look. It's useless for me to look at it. With my strength, I can't practice any powerful secret manuals. Falbert said quickly, besides, with our relationship, do you still need to be so polite? Alright, if that's the case, I'll open it and take a look. Lin Yi nodded. In fact, he was also very curious, but without Falbert's authorization, Lin Yi could only endure. Now that Falbert had agreed, Lin Yi didn't need to pretend. As for Hui Yao Yun from Flaming Mountain, Lil Yi, take a look yourself. If you can help, then help. If you can't help, then refuse. If you can't refuse, then I'll go talk to him personally. Falbert said. All right, I'll think about it. Lin Yi said. After hanging up, Lin Yi couldn't wait to find the bamboo scroll and open it up. There were 8 big words written on it: Fushi 9 Needles Practitioner's Arts. Fushi 9 Needles? After seeing these words, Lin Yi became a little excited. This Fushi 9 Needles, didn't he have a set? Back when he was in Zhang Liju's tomb, there was a set of Fushi 9 needles. But back then, Lin Yi didn't know what this Fushi 9 needles was for, because there was too little information. He only knew that this Fushi 9 needles was a very powerful acupuncture tool. He didn't think that it would be a sky-class weapon. This meant that when Lin Yi was in the tomb, he didn't see Zhang Liju's weapon. He only saw Master Bing and Master Shui's weapons. Lin Yi thought that Zhang Liju was an elixir refiner and didn't use weapons. He didn't expect that his weapon would be overlooked. So, Fushi 9 needles is a sky-class weapon. If that's the case, then the 5 Elements sect master stole the practitioner's arts for the sky-class weapon must be the one Zhang Liju used back then. Lin Yi mumbled to himself as realization dawned on him. Before, Lin Yi was still worried about his sky-class weapon, but in the blink of an eye, Lin Yi had his own sky-class weapon. With this technique, Lin Yi could use the Fushi 9 needles he got from Zhang Liju's tomb. Although the Fushi 9 needles weren't in Lin Yi's hands, Lin Yi was only practicing in his hands. He wasn't using it to fight, so he didn't have too high of a requirement for the strength of the needles. He just needed to use normal needles. Of course, the weakness of normal needles was obvious. He couldn't infuse qi into them, and they couldn't really unleash their true power. They could only be used for practice. But this was more than enough for Lin Yi. He didn't have many enemies in West Star Village, and there was no need for him to practice with real swords and spears. This way, he could save a lot of energy. Yushu came downstairs after the call with Lin Yi. Meng Yao looked at her and asked, "What did Lin Yi say?" "Oh, Shield Bro said that he won't be coming back for now." This was Xian must be looking for him to deal with Zhang Naipeo, but with Shield Bro's current situation, it's not yet time for him to completely turn against the Everyday and Every Sun sect. Yushu said. Then, what about Hua Xian at the door? Should we tell him that Lin Yi won't be coming back? Meng Yao frowned. That's hard to say. Shield Bro said that he'll be sick of waiting, so he'll leave. We don't have to worry about him. Yushu said. All right then. Meng Yao nodded, but he's setting up a tent in front of our villa. It's a little awkward no matter how I look at it. I'll call the property management company and get the security to chase him away. With that, Yushu called the property management company and told them that there was a homeless man at the villa's entrance. She asked them to send someone to chase Hua Xian away. The property management company, naturally, quickly agreed. These villa residents were their big customers, and they paid quite a lot of property management fees every year. With that, the property management company quickly sent 5 security guards to the villa in an electric patrol car. Mr. The security captain was just about to ask Hua Xian to leave when he saw a scene that stunned him. Hua Yanyan planned to stay here for a long time, so he had to stick the tent firmly into the soil. Hence, the security captain saw with his own eyes that Hua Yanyan had inserted a tent frame that was more than a meter long into the soil effortlessly. He was instantly dumbfounded. Chapter 30-22. Private Occupation. Firecloud glanced at the security captain, not intending to use force. After all, he was here to ask for Lin Yi's help, and he didn't dare act all high and mighty. Besides, there were rules in the ancient world that forbade fighting against people of the common world, especially commoners. Then where are they parking their cars, where are they drying their clothes, where are the kids playing, the old man playing mahjong, and the old lady doing the yanko? They're all private occupation, why don't you kick them out? The security captain didn't expect Firecloud to be as smart as he was strong, coming up with so many reasons in one go. He wiped the sweat off his forehead. Our district is closed off, and non-residents can't stay here for long. You see, you're not the owner of this district, but they are. Oh, so you want me to buy a house here? You should have said so earlier. Firecloud waved his hand. Find me a house, I'll buy it. That way, I can stay here, right? You've bought a house, it's nice to live in a house. The captain had thought that Hui Yenyun was a homeless person when Yushu called him, but now it seemed that Hui Yenyun didn't look like a poor person at all. The captain saw Hui Yenyun walking towards the Land Rover, and that made him even less of a poor person. This is a bank card, the password is 123,456, and there's 50 million in there. Pick a house for me, and give me the keys and the contract after you swipe the card. Firecloud took out a bank card from the car and handed it to the security captain. Fiery Mountain was one of the wealthier ancient sections. The reason was simple, Fiery Mountain was a fire attribute sect. They also had alchemists in their sect, but they only did business in the southern suburbs, western regions, and other border areas. There was no conflict of business with Heavenly Elixir Sect and Cultivator Trade Association. The security captain jumped in fright, trembling as he took Firecloud's bank card. This was 50 million. He wouldn't be able to earn that much in his entire life. At this moment, he even had a sense of guilt that he wanted to take it for himself. Although Fuming Cloud was rich, he would not allow himself to be cheated. Moreover, 50 million was not a small sum. Medicinal pills in the world of cultivation were not very expensive. It was a world of difference from auctions in the secular world. However, Blazing Mountain usually did not pursue material comforts. Most of the people in the ancient sects pursued cultivation. Every day, other than cultivation, they would think about raising the status of the sect. Therefore, in terms of money, having enough was enough. That was why Blazing Cloud did not care too much about 50 million. Don't think of any bad ideas. If you want to embezzle this money, that's not a problem. But you're the security guard of this property company. It's easy for me to find you. Do you think your head is harder, or this rock is harder? As he spoke, Firecloud lifted his leg and kicked a bluestone sculpture beside him. The bluestone sculpture immediately shattered into pieces. Firecloud then continued, if you think your head is harder than this, I'll give you the money. Ugh. Bro, I wouldn't dare embezzle. Don't worry, my sister is the sales manager of this district. I'll get her to choose a house for you right away. The security captain was quite frightened. In actuality, Firecloud was just a casual kick. This was something any golden class master could do, but it was also the most effective for these security guards. If he showed his sky class strength, these security guards would not be able to recognize him. The security captain left as quickly as he came. When he came back, he had already handed a set of house keys to Hu Mingyun. But to his surprise, Hu Mingyun was still stationed here. But since Firecloud was the owner of this place, there was nothing he could do about it. After all, in this district, these places were all public. In the summer, there were people who set up tents to barbecue and play cards. It was just that it was rare in the winter. But Firecloud liked to camp here in the winter, so the security guards couldn't do anything about it. Yushu saw that not only had Hu Mingyun not left, but that he'd even settled down outside. She called the property management company angrily, but the explanation they gave her drove her crazy. Hu Mingyun had actually bought a house here. Shu, why do you hate Firecloud so much? Why do you have to chase him away? Mengyao didn't want to ask about it at first, but Yushu's actions made her want to ask again when she was resting. Yao Yao. Yushu paused. There were some things she didn't want to say. She didn't want to say it until the moment came. If she said it, everyone would be unhappy. If she didn't say it, she would be the only one unhappy. So, Yushu didn't say it. She only said, I just don't like him. There's no reason. It's like how you don't like Zhong Pingliang and Zhang Wen. Is there a reason? All right. Meng Yao shook her head and stopped asking. After all, Yushu was right. Hate was hate, there was no reason. But, the next morning, Hua Hongyan's every move gave Yushu something to use against him. Fire Cloud felt that Yushu was rejecting him. He was afraid that Yushu would find an excuse not to tell him after Lin Yi came back, or that she would send Lin Yi away again. So, he waited at Lin Yi's villa without leaving. He couldn't solve the problem of food, though. But this wasn't a problem for him. He grabbed a few pigeons from the sky and ignited a flame with his hands, roasting them. He often roasted wild animals in the back mountains when he was in the sect, so it was a walk in the park for him. Hello, is this Lingshan sis? I'm Yushu. Yushu called Lingshan directly. Yutian was no longer chasing after Lingshan, and Lingshan had some sort of relationship with Lin Yi. She'd even helped Meng Yao and Yushu escape with Lin Yi when they were in danger, so Yushu's attitude towards Lingshan had changed. Oh, it's Shu. What's up? Lingshan was curious why Yushu was calling her. Lingshan sis, I need to call the cops. Someone set fire to my villa, come and take him away. Yushu said. Set fire to your villa? Lingshan paused. I don't need to do it, right? You can just get Wu Chen Tian or something to chase him away. Chapter 30-23. Lingshan didn't have a choice, she didn't understand why Yushu had to chase him away, but she still nodded, alright, I'll go try then. It didn't take long for Lingshan to arrive at the villa's doorstep, seeing few men barbecuing. Mister, this is a residential area. You're barbecuing with an open flame, it's very easy to start a fire. Please leave. Hua Xianyan paused, but put away the fire in his hands and looked up at Lingshan. May I ask where the open flame is? I don't have a grill here, and I don't have any fuel. I'm doing magic with my hands, can't I? Lingshan didn't expect Hua Xianyan to use his own qi to start the fire, it was either a technique or a refinement fire. Lingshan couldn't interfere, however, since it was a practitioner's business, and Hua Xianyan really wasn't using an open flame. Alright, continue then. Be careful. Lingshan had no choice but to go back, and this pissed off Yushu, who'd been paying attention to what was going on outside the villa. This Hua Xianyan was such a shameless bastard, standing right at the door and not leaving no matter what, leaving Yushu at her wit's end. If the guy had been a normal person, Yushu might have been able to make him leave in fear, but the guy was a practitioner, and Yushu's pranks didn't have much of an effect on him. Yushu couldn't help but hate Hua Xianyan even more. The days passed, and Hua Xianyan settled down at the villa's door. Yushu had no choice but to ignore him, and in this period of time, Lin Yi's mastery of the Fushi 9 needles was starting to show results. The usage of sky-class divine weapons was also divided into 3 levels, early, mid and late. The corresponding strength levels were sky-class early, mid and late. As for the peak of the early stage, it also corresponded to the early stage of the sky class. With Lin Yi's current strength level, it should have been hard for him to even use an early phase weapon, but perhaps it was because Lin Yi's body was very similar to Zhang Liju's, or maybe it was because of Lin Yi's 5 elements and 7 elements, but he was very familiar with the 9 Fushi needles. He might not be able to fully utilize the early phase practitioner's arts, but it was no problem for him to be familiar with it. As for the effectiveness, there was nothing Lin Yi could do about it, since Lin Yi's own strength level was there, and the arts of the 9 Fushi needles weren't like the 5 elements Bagua palms, which allowed him to transcend levels. It could only be used according to the user's original strength level. But this was already pretty good, and at least Lin Yi was quite satisfied with it. This made Lin Yi feel a little better from not being able to fully grasp the fire of forging. At least when it came to using a sky-class weapon, Lin Yi regained the confidence he had when he first used his skills. Of course, every sky-class weapon needed to be matched with the corresponding attributes. For example, the 9 Fushi needles needed a fire attribute physique to be able to use it. The other 3 sky-class weapons that Lin Yi got from Zhang Liju's tomb were ice and mist attributed, and only those with ice and mist attributes could use them. Of course, ice and mist were all part of the water attribute, and these 3 attributes could be used interchangeably with the water, ice, and mist attribute weapons, but the effect wasn't as good as the corresponding one. And Lin Yi had a fire attribute in his body, so naturally, he could use the 9 Fushi needles skillfully. If it were another fire attribute practitioner, they would be able to master it as well. After all, a sky-class weapon was only a support in battle, and as long as it was matched with the same attribute in the body, there wouldn't be a problem using it. However, there were some virtual attribute cultivators. Even if they reached the heaven rank, they still wouldn't be able to use heaven-rank divine weapons. Even if they used them, they wouldn't be able to display too much of an effect. It would be the same as an ordinary person holding an ordinary broadsword. At most, they would have more strength. As for external martial practitioners, their heaven-ranked divine weapons could not be infused with true qi, and did not need to correspond to their attributes. However, their divine weapons belonged to another category. Some external martial practitioners knew how to use them, and some didn't. Being bare-handed was already very powerful. After all, it was even more difficult for a physical cultivator to find a suitable heaven-ranked divine weapon. Sometimes, using a divine weapon was more convenient than not using it. The only regret was that the 9 Fushi needles could only be used by Lin Yi as a sky-class weapon, and not as a healing weapon. According to the records, the 9 Fushi needles had the effect of bringing the dead back to life, but the method of using this magical power had been lost, and even Zhang Liju didn't know how to use it. But Lin Yi still felt that using the 9 Fushi needles as a weapon was only a branch function of the 9 Fushi needles. Its main function was still to heal. Or rather, to heal the practitioner. Lin Yi felt that if the 9 Fushi needles were really as the legend said, then it shouldn't be a problem to heal the practitioner's dantian and meridians. Of course, in terms of healing, Lin Yi could only think of another way, or else the 9 Fushi needles would only be a sky-class weapon. Little Yi followed the instructions of the Xianxin elder and did a thorough and detailed investigation of the Sun family. However, the results of the investigation made Little Yi frown. Fortunately, Little 11, who accompanied him in the investigation, found a description of the Sun family in another ancient book, and it also introduced some unknown secrets. Little Yi could barely breathe a sigh of relief. After receiving this news, Little Yi immediately rushed to the Heavenly Elixir sect, ready to tell the results of his investigation to the Xianxin elder and ask him to make a decision. Taganlong's injuries were very serious, comparable to Lin Yi's injuries before, but the only thing Taganlong was stronger than Lin Yi was that his dantian wasn't completely shattered, only half of it was shattered. This way, if he had a top-grade Great Recovery pill, he could still recover. But the key problem was that no one could concoct a top-grade Great Recovery pill. Therefore, in order to cure Taganlong and allow him to cultivate again, Taganlong's meridians and dantian had to be repaired. This way, the Sun family would need to have someone who had cultivated to the second level of the mental cultivation method to be able to treat Taganlong. Chapter 30-24. But the problem now was that the second generation of the Sun family had already used up their own healing quota when they cultivated to the first level of perfection. As for the first generation of the Sun family, Old Man Sun, although he had already cultivated to the second level of perfection, he had already wasted one quota and only had one left. As for the third generation of the Sun family, Sun Ikai, he hadn't cultivated to the first level of perfection and couldn't treat others. As for Sun Jingyi, she had probably already wasted her quota when she treated Lin Yi. But what surprised little Yi was that Sun Jingyi had actually reached the second level. If she hadn't reached the second level, it would have been impossible for her to repair Lin Yi's meridians and dantian. Therefore, this was equivalent to walking into a dead end. Only Old Man's son could treat Tag Onlong, but he could only repair his external injuries and meridians. It was impossible for him to repair the dantian. However, the dantian couldn't be repaired. Even if Tag Onlong woke up, it would be useless. Little E was incomparably conflicted after investigating this result. On the other hand, Little 11 seemed to have seen an introduction to the special practitioners of the Sun family in an evil ancient book about acupuncture. Little 11's heaven-grade weapon was a set of imitation 9 Fushi needles. The real 9 Fushi needles was used by Zhang Liju back then, but that set had disappeared along with Zhang Liju. As for the one in Little 11's hand, it was a genius blacksmith that appeared in the 5 Elements sect, and it was an imitation of the 9 Fushi needles using similar materials. Therefore, Little 11 would naturally read some ancient books about acupuncture with the 9 Fushi needles in hand. Thus, Little 11 found the ancient book again and indeed found a secret method that could make the Sun family be used by Tag Onlong. This secret method was actually used on a type of spirit beast that had already disappeared. Of course, if it was used on humans, the effect would be the same. It was just that no one had tried it before, so they didn't know what the consequences would be. Of course, since there was a way, he had to report it to the Xianchen ancestor and ask him to make a decision. Little E greets Master. After entering the Xianchen ancestor's room, Little E bowed respectfully. However, he discovered that Kong Ming Ming was also there. It seemed that the relationship between Kong Ming Ming and the Xianchen ancestor wasn't ordinary. Little one, how is it? How's the investigation of the Sun family? Patriarch Black Earth asked. The Sun family's matter has been investigated, but it's not optimistic. Little one said honestly, currently, the people in the Sun family who have the ability to heal Tagan Dragon have all been wasted. As he spoke, Little E explained the characteristics and situation of the Sun family's mental cultivation method in detail to Patriarch Xianchen. Oh. Does that mean there's no hope for Tagan Dragon? Patriarch Xianchen raised his eyebrows, and his expression darkened. The Sun family doesn't have any side branches? Master, the number of people in the Sun family is small to begin with. Naturally, they don't have any collateral relatives. Some of them married out, but their descendants don't cultivate the Sun family's mental cultivation method, so we can only start with the Sun family's main branch. Little one said, however, Little 11 found a replacement mystic art from an ancient book. It can make the Sun family members who have lost their targets be used by Tagan dragons, stimulating the healing attributes in their bodies. Oh. Can it be activated by force? Will this mystic art work? Patriarch Xuanchen's eyes lit up as he asked. It should work, but it's very vicious. We need to use acupuncture to stimulate the potential in the Sun family members' bodies, but the consequences are unpredictable. This process is very painful. Perhaps after treating Tagan Dragon, they will become a cripple. Little one said. Oh. Become a cripple? Will they die? Patriarch Xianchen pondered for a moment and asked. They probably won't die, but it's hard to say. After all, this mystic art is used on spirit beasts. If it's used on humans, it might have unexpected consequences. Little one said. Then, who in the Sun family is suitable to use this mystic art? Is it Old Man's son or that Sun Jingyi? Patriarch Xianchen asked. Both are fine, but Sun Jingyi should be better, Little one said. Oh. How so? Patriarch Xianchen frowned slightly. This Sun Jingyi is Lin Yi's woman, right? If we touch her, it seems to be against the rules. If Lin Yi finds out and tells Boss Bai, it will affect the overall plan. But Old Man's son is old. I'm afraid he won't be able to hold on with this mystic art. It will be even more troublesome if he dies. Little one explained. Moreover, according to our investigation, Lin Yi hasn't been in East Ocean City recently. It should be fine if we do it secretly. Patriarch Xianxian nodded and looked at Kang Mingming. Zhao Ming, what do you think? You know more about the mortal world. Is the relationship between Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi that kind of boyfriend and girlfriend? This, most likely. Kang Mingming didn't dare to lie about this matter. Although he wanted to deal with Lin Yi, he couldn't cause trouble for the Five Elements sect. The Five Elements sect was his foundation. If the Five Elements sect abandoned him, then he would be nothing. Therefore, he was also very cautious about this matter. But I remember that Master only promised Boss Bai not to cause trouble for his disciple and Lin Yi, right? Sun Jingyi isn't his disciple, so we can just act like we don't know anything. Even if Boss Bai asks us to do something, we'll just pretend to be innocent and push the blame away. That's a good idea. Patriarch Xianxian nodded. Isn't it just acting shamelessly? However, he had to admit that sometimes acting shamelessly was the best way. Yes, Master, junior brother Zhao Ming is right. As long as Boss Bai doesn't catch us on the spot and intervene, we can shirk responsibility afterward. Little One said, however, the possibility of Boss Bai going to the Sun family is almost zero. Even if Lin Yi goes, he won't be able to do anything. He won't be able to beat me at all, and if I go there myself, all he can do is stare at me. We'll just have to deny it afterwards, and this will be over. Okay, let's do it this way. You and Little 11 prepare to take Tagan Long to East Ocean City and use this mystic art to activate Sun Jingyi's healing target and heal Tagan Long. Patriarch Xianxian said, however, we must be fully prepared and try to succeed. There aren't many chances. Tagan Long is our only hope now. Chapter 30-25. When Patriarch Xianxian heard Little Yi's question, although his face didn't change, he was extremely sad in his heart. It wasn't that he didn't want to investigate, but there was no clue to this matter. Patriarch Xianxian could think of only a few people who were more powerful than Old 6 and Old 7, and they had no reason to attack Old 6, Old 7, and Old 12. After all, the Five Elements sect's current enemy was only Lin Yi. However, it was impossible for Lin Yi to kill Old 6, Old 7, and Old 12. Even if Lin Yi was an expert at the early stage of Heaven stage, Patriarch Xianxian believed that he could kill Old 12, but Old 6 and Old 7 were experts at the peak of the late stage of Heaven stage. How could they die so easily? Don't worry about this matter. I know what I'm doing. Patriarch Xianxian waved his hand, indicating that Little Yi didn't need to worry about it. In his opinion, it was a waste of effort for Little Yi to investigate. Yes, Master. Little Yi retreated respectfully. Master, don't be too sad. People can't come back to life after they die. Aren't we still here? Kang Mingming comforted. AI, that's true. Patriarch Xianxian nodded. By the way, Zhao Ming, how are the preparations for your marriage with Little Peach? It's all right. Kang Mingming's heart ached. Do you really have to marry Little Peach? I don't even have any interest in sleeping with that kind of trash. Kang Mingming decided that he had to think of a way. He couldn't go on like this. He had to think of a way to refuse this marriage. Otherwise, his life would be ruined. Thinking of this, Kang Mingming quickly said, Master, I'll go find Little Peach to discuss the marriage. Okay, you go. Patriarch Xianxian waved his hand, indicating that Kang Mingming could leave. Little Peach received Kang Mingming's invitation and went to the appointment happily and excitedly. When she saw Kang Mingming, she immediately said happily, Brother Kang, you were looking for me. Little Peach, I called you here to talk business. Kang Mingming really couldn't pretend anymore. Little Peach was no longer the personal maid of the heavenly silkworm transformation. She had lost her value. Kang Mingming thought about it and decided to tell the truth. Now that he was the disciple of Patriarch Xianchen, he could be considered an elder who relied on him. In the Heavenly Elixir sect, he did not need Little Peach to get close to the Heavenly Silkworm transformation. Is it about our wedding? Little Peach was still in the dark. Naturally, she did not know that Kong Mingming had been deceiving her all along. Marriage? Little Peach, tell me the truth. Do you really think I like you? Kong Mingming looked at Little Peach coldly and said, to tell you the truth, I took a fancy to your identity as young Sect Master Tian's personal maid. I just wanted to use you to get close to young Sect Master Tian. However, you did not disappoint me. From you, I did get a lot of convenience to get close to young Sect Master Tian, and I obtained a lot of benefits. You. Brother Kong. Little Peach looked at Kong Mingming in disbelief. She was so shocked that she could not speak. Her eyes were full of surprise and anger. She was used. She was just being used. Alright, don't be delusional. Look at yourself. Moreover, we all know what kind of person young Sect Master Tian is. You are his maid. I don't believe that he did not play with you. I don't like a woman like you at all. Kong Mingming snorted coldly and said, today, I'm laying all my cards on the table with you. If you know what's good for you, then break up with me peacefully. We won't interfere with each other. Otherwise, it will be easy for me to kill you. Don't forget my current identity. I am the disciple of Patriarch Xianchen. Even if I kill you, young Sect Master Tian will not pursue the matter for Patriarch Xuanchen's sake. Don't even think about telling this to young Sect Master Tian and asking him to stand up for you. Once the matter of you helping me get in touch with young Sect Master Tian through the back door is exposed, you will not have a good ending. I. Little Peach's tears flowed uncontrollably. She, who was innocent, did not expect Kong Mingming to be such a person. She had loved Kong Mingming with all her heart, but in exchange, this was the result. However, Little Peach also had a backbone. She was a maid of the Sky Silkworm transformation. She would not lose face for the Sky Silkworm transformation. Although she liked Kong Mingming in her heart, he did not want her at all. He had never liked her at all. What was there for her to pester? Don't worry, Brother Kong. I won't pester you. I understand. You can go. Little Peach wiped her tears, gritted her teeth and said, this is the last time I will call you Brother Kong. From now on, you will be Elder Kong. Not bad, at least you know your place. Kong Mingming saw Little Peach's attitude and finally breathed a sigh of relief. He said, but don't worry, I will introduce you to a boyfriend and find you a good partner. I have a cousin who likes to pick up used shoes. My last girlfriend was picked up by him. I will introduce you to him. He is doing well, and it will be a good way for you to follow him. But the premise is that you must tell the public that we broke up peacefully. Thank you. You don't need to worry about my matters. Little Peach shook her head and said, Elder Kong, if there is nothing else, I will leave. Ah, then you can go. I won't see you off. We are still friends. Kong Mingming finally breathed a sigh of relief. He thought to himself, I finally got rid of this ugly monster. Little Peach wiped away her tears and returned to the Sky Silkworm Transformation's residence. These few days were the time for Little Peach and Chen Shi to take over. Little Peach had to tell Chen Shi some of the Sky Silkworm Transformation's preferences and things to pay attention to. Little Peach, Kong Mingming wants to discuss marriage with you, right? How is it? Have you decided on a date? Silkworm Transformation asked Little Peach. To be honest, Tian Chan was not optimistic about Kong Mingming. Kong Mingming was too evil, and he was Lin Yi's enemy. As Tian Chan's personal maid, Little Peach naturally hoped that she would have a good partner. To be honest, it was a waste to marry Kong Mingming. However, Little Peach liked Kong Mingming, so Tian Chan could not interfere. She could only silently bless and support her. "Young master, we broke up," Little Peach said, pretending to be calm. "Broke up? What happened?" Tian-chan was stunned. She was a little shocked. "Little Peach, why did you break up with Kong Ming? Did he propose it?" "No, we broke up peacefully. We felt that we were not suitable for each other, so we broke up." Little Peach's eyes were red, but she still pretended to be calm. Chapter 30-26. No. It's okay. Little Peach shook her head and said, "Young master, we really broke up peacefully, really? Alright, I'll call Kong Xiaoming over for a confrontation. I want to see what tricks you are playing." Tian-chan said coldly. "Don't. Young master, I will tell the truth. Please don't pursue it, okay?" Little Peach was shocked and said quickly. "Tell me, I will see the situation." Tian-chan said lightly. "It's like this." Little Peach naturally did not dare to hide anything from Tian-chan, so she told her about Kong Ming. Tian-chan frowned as she listened. She cursed Kong Ming in her heart. This person was not a good person and was ungrateful. But there was no other way. Tian-chan did not want to offend ancestor Xianchen because of this. After all, Kong Ming was the disciple of ancestor Xianchen, and he was the only person in the heavenly elixir sect who could refine the bone and marrow cleansing pill. If it was not a big deal, Tian-chan really could not punish him. But at the same time, Tian-chan was a little glad. She did not want Little Peach and Kong Ming to be together, but Little Peach liked Kong Ming wholeheartedly, so she could not stop her. It was better to break up now. So she said, "Little Peach, break up is break up. Then you can continue to follow me." "Ah. Young master, don't you have Tian-shi by your side?" Little Peach was slightly stunned. "Tian-shi, the main thing is to practice. You will be responsible for some trivial things." Tian-chan said, "I will help you announce the cancellation of your marriage with Kong Ming in a while. You don't have to worry about this anymore." "Ah. Thank you, young sect master." Little Peach was very grateful. She was even more devoted to Tian-chan. At the same time, she felt that she was too stupid to actually believe Kong Ming's words. Therefore, Kong Ming and Little Peach dissolved the engagement peacefully. Patriarch Xianchen only asked about it, but Kong Ming said it vaguely, so he didn't ask further. He didn't care about these things, and he didn't think it was shameful to go back on one's word. Little 1 and Little 11 were almost ready. They packed up and went to East Ocean City. The Sun family was located in a small city not far from East Ocean City, and they had to transfer at East Ocean City. Little 1 and Little 11 did not drive too fast. After all, there was an injured person in the car. Although this injured person used to be a cultivator, he was now terminally ill and could not withstand the torment. Little 1 was really afraid that he would die from the bumps on the road. Finally, after a long journey of dozens of hours, Little 1 parked the car at the entrance of the Sun family's villa. "Is this the secular Sun family?" Little 1 asked after getting out of the car. The secular Sun family was also a famous family in the local area. Especially after joining Lin Yi's Cultivator Association, their status had increased. Now, even the hidden families didn't dare to do anything to the Sun family. As a result, Old Master Sun's arrogant temper was cultivated. How could he let it go when he heard someone shouting at the door? Therefore, Old Master Sun said to Sun Ikai's father, "Sun Gangjin, go out and see who dares to shout at our Sun family's door." "Do you want to die?" "Yes, father." Sun Gangjin nodded and strode out of the Sun family. When he came to the door, he saw a young man in his 30s standing at the door and shouting. Sun Gangjin sneered and said, "Since you know this is the secular Sun family, why are you still making a fuss here? Do you want to die?" Is Sun Jingyi here? Little one didn't want to talk nonsense with Sun Gangjin at all. In his eyes, Sun Gangjin was an ant-like existence. Even saying one more word was a waste of breath. If not for Patriarch Xuanzhen's instructions, no one from the Sun family could die, lest Lin Yi and Boss Bai be displeased. Who are you? Coming to my Sun family to behave atrociously? Sun Jingyi is the wife of Lin Yi, the president of the Cultivator Association. How can you call her by her name? Sun Gangjin pointed at little one and said angrily. Shut up, go to hell. Before little one could say anything, little 11, who had just gotten out of the car, became impatient. With a wave of his hand, a strong wind swept past. Sun Gangjin immediately screamed and fell to the ground, blood flowing out of his mouth. Little junior sister, don't kill him. Little one was shocked and hurriedly reminded her. Don't worry, he won't die. He's just crippled. Little 11 said indifferently, let's go. Since this person doesn't want to say, then let's go in and find him. Stop talking so much nonsense. It's annoying. After saying that, little 11 stepped out and directly stepped on Sun Gangjin's chest. Sun Gangjin once again let out a blood-curdling scream, his eyes rolled back and he directly fainted. If there was no medicine like the Great Recover pill, then Sun Gangjin obviously wouldn't be able to live because he couldn't heal himself. As for the people of the Sun family, unless Old Man Sun took action, even if he recovered, he would still be a cripple. Although little one was also very vicious, at this moment, seeing little 11's ruthlessness, he also felt that he was inferior. His junior sister was really too ruthless. She made someone like this and still wanted to step on him. Sun Gangjin's screams naturally attracted the attention of the Sun family. Old Man Sun subconsciously felt that something was wrong, so he ran to the door with Sun Jingyi. However, in his opinion, if he mentioned Lin Yi's name, the other party should be more restrained. After all, Lin Yi's name was now well known in the hidden families, and many people even knew about the ancient level. However, before Old Man Sun and Sun Jingyi could go out, little one and little 11 welcomed them. Seeing Sun Jingyi, little 11's eyes lit up. He directly said to little one, eldest senior brother, you go take care of that old thing. I'll deal with Sun Jingyi. Okay. For little one, taking care of Old Man Sun was as easy as lifting a finger. He casually waved his hand, and Old Man Sun fainted without even saying a word. As for the other servants of the Sun family, when they saw that the newcomers were so tyrannical, they did not dare to make a sound and subconsciously hid. Although the Sun family was also a cultivation family, they were different from ordinary cultivators. There were no powerful cultivators here. Of course, even if there were, they would definitely not be a match for little one and little 11. What level of experts were these two people at? If it was not for the fact that Patriarch Xuanzhen felt that Tag Onlong was too important, he would not have sent little one personally. Why use a butcher's knife to kill a chicken? To deal with the secular Sun family, little 10 and little 11 could go together. However, Patriarch Xuanzhen was afraid that there would be accidents, so he sent little one. Chapter 30-27. Back then, Lin Yi almost died under their hands. Although Lin Yi's current strength was not what it used to be, he still had no chance of winning against little Yi. Therefore, Sun Jingyi was shocked. She did not understand why they came to the Sun family to cause trouble. Sun Jingyi, right? We meet again. Little 11 looked at Sun Jingyi, and a cold look flashed in her eyes. She hated women who were prettier than her the most, and Sun Jingyi was one of them. She especially liked to torture these beautiful women. She had the same thought for Han Jingjing last time. What do you want? Didn't Lin Yi have an agreement with you? You can't do anything to us anymore. Although Sun Jingyi knew that they did not come with good intentions, she still reminded them. Agreement? That's right, we didn't touch Lin Yi, but you don't belong to the scope of the agreement. Little 11 looked at Sun Jingyi and smiled cruelly. However, if you cooperate with me to do one thing, then I can spare your life. Otherwise, I will let you die a horrible death, then strip your clothes and hang your body at the door of the Sun family. I will make Lin Yi lose face. Little 11's words were vicious. After she said this, Sun Jingyi had to cooperate no matter what. Otherwise, it would not matter if she died, but it would also cause Lin Yi to lose face. Sun Jingyi's expression suddenly changed. Although she was very angry, she still asked, "What do you want me to do?" "Help me treat someone." Little 11 waved her hand and gestured for Little Yi to carry Taganlong into the yard. Little Yi quickly carried Taganlong's stretcher over and placed it on the ground. This is impossible. The Sun family's mental cultivation method can only treat one person. Once the target is activated, it is irreversible. I have already treated Lin Yi, so it is impossible to treat others. Sun Jingyi said. Under normal circumstances, it's naturally impossible, but have you heard of a special method? It can forcibly activate the healing ability of your Sun family members, and it won't be limited by the target. 11th said. After listening to Little 11's words, Sun Jingyi trembled. Obviously, she knew about this method, but she didn't know how Little 11 knew about it. Why should I cooperate with you? That method is worse than death for me. Although this method of forcibly activating the healing ability was vicious, Sun Jingyi had to be willing to cooperate with the Sun family's chant. Otherwise, there would be no effect, so if Sun Jingyi didn't agree, it would be useless to kill her. Oh. So you're saying that you're prepared to die naked? 11th's expression turned cold as he asked. Lin Yi and I just like each other. We haven't confirmed our relationship, and others don't know our relationship. If you do this, it will only embarrass the Sun family. It has nothing to do with Lin Yi. Sun Jingyi said coldly. 11th's method was very vicious, making people feel worse than death. Although Sun Jingyi hadn't seen it, she had heard people talk about it. Therefore, Sun Jingyi would rather die than bear that kind of pain. It wasn't something an ordinary person could bear. Oh. 11th's expression became gloomy. She didn't expect Sun Jingyi to refuse. She had already threatened Sun Jingyi before, and Sun Jingyi gave in. Now that she suddenly changed her mind, it was enough to prove how painful the secret method was. However, the more painful it was, the more 11th liked it. Even if it wasn't to save Taganlong, she would probably find a chance to try this cruel method. Therefore, 11th said coldly, "Okay, in that case, eldest senior brother, if she doesn't want to, you can go and kill Lin Yi. Anyway, Lin Yi is outside now, and he won't even know how he died. If we don't admit it, Boss Bai can't do anything about it." Okay, junior sister. Little one knew that 11th was scaring Sun Jingyi, so she nodded cooperatively and turned to leave. 11th, on the other hand, spoke to Jingyi at the same time. "Since you're of no use to us, then die." "No." Sun Jingyi screamed subconsciously. 11th's viciousness forced her to compromise. Her chest heaved up and down, and she was obviously very angry. "I promise you, don't look for trouble with Lin Yi. Why didn't you say that earlier? You won't give up until you see the coffin." 11th said coldly and sarcastically. "However, whether you can kill Lin Yi or not depends on how well you cooperate." "Okay, I'll cooperate." Sun Jingyi nodded, and a hint of determination flashed in her eyes. In the Wulanhate Mountains, Lin Yi almost sacrificed his life to protect her. Why couldn't Sun Jingyi do the same? "Very well, eldest senior brother, pick up Taganlong's hands. I'm going to perform acupuncture." 11th said to Little One. Little One nodded, thinking that sometimes being ruthless was very useful. Didn't Sun Jingyi obediently compromise in the end? He picked up Taganlong's hands and raised them up. "Put your hands on them." Little One ordered Sun Jingyi. Sun Jingyi was already prepared to die. She obeyed and mechanically placed her hands on Taganlong's hands. Like this? Little one didn't answer. What he replied to Sun Jingyi was a few silver needles. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The silver needles pierced through Sun Jingyi's acupoints on her 10 fingers and directly connected with the acupoints on Taganlong's hands. Ouch! Sun Jingyi was in so much pain that tears almost came out. Her body trembled slightly. Why was it so painful? Although the 10 fingers were connected to the heart, Sun Jingyi was also a strong-willed person. However, this kind of pain made her tremble. What Sun Jingyi didn't know was that 11th had added a special mental cultivation method to the silver needles. This was a secret technique. He hadn't used it yet, but the pain was already unbearable. Bear with it, you stinking bitch. If you scream again, I'll pierce your eye sockets. 11th fiercely threw out a few more silver needles and directly pierced a few acupoints on Sun Jingyi's body. Sun Jingyi shivered in pain. She held back her tears, but for Lin Yi, she gritted her teeth. It had to be said that 11th's threat was quite effective on her. This was because, in Sun Jingyi's opinion, Little 1 and Little 11 really had the ability and motive to kill Lin Yi. Last time, if Boss Bai hadn't interfered, Lin Yi would probably have. And this time, without Boss Bai by her side, Sun Jingyi could only choose to compromise. Alright, now start circulating your mental cultivation method. Together with the mental cultivation method, I'm going to apply the needles. 11th said coldly, you're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.